हो गया, लाइव हो गया. ओके. Good evening, everyone. So today is day 2, and today we'll be dealing with questions of these subjects. So space, astronomy, electromagnetic waves is something that we have covered. आज हम nuclear science and technology and biotechnology will deal with that. Tomorrow I'll club biology basics with health only. Okay, on day 3 we'll club biology basics with health, because there's a lot of overlap also. It would make more sense. So yesterday we dealt with 132 questions. Today we have another 108 questions, taking us to total 240 questions. Okay. So for students who are watching it online, please download the PDF from the description. In description we have given the link of the PDF. Okay, so nuclear science and technology is something that we are starting with. Question number 132. Kal 131 tak we had done. Question number 132. चलिए आप लोग ही शुरू करिए, बताइए मुझे. Even online students in comments do provide your answer along with question number. Sir, please cover all the important topic in MCQ. क्लासेस से ज़्यादा क्लैरिटी इसमें हो रही है, हैं? मतलब क्लासेस में बेकार पढ़ाता हूँ मैं क्या यार? Yes, I'll try to do that. I'll try to ensure that every relevant important topics get covered through MCQs here. That is the idea. Okay. चलिए शुरू करें. तो आपसे ही शुरू करते हैं. क्वेश्चन नंबर 1. Consider the following statements about the radius of nucleus of an atom. When we are going to nuclear science and technology, we should know this. This I've taken from NCERT. Class 9 या class 10 NCERT से I've made this question. Voice नहीं आ रही है? आ रही है? पक्का? Okay. B. C. C is the answer. Radius of the nucleus of an atom is smaller than radius of an atom by about 10,000 times. That's true. तो मतलब volume of nucleus will be 10 raised to minus 12 times of volume of an atom. So in a way, atom is something which is empty. For example, if we consider this room to be an atom, nucleus is just the size of a pinhead, nothing else. अगर ये पूरा room is an atom, nucleus is the size of a pinhead. So, and most of the mass, 99.9% of the mass of the, more than that, is where? In the nucleus. So when we look at size of an atom, nucleus is a very small part of it, and most of the mass is there in the nucleus. Both the statements here are correct. Answer would be C. Right? So देखो, while covering things in class, I requested you people कि I'll cover most of the topics which are relevant for examination, but you have to read class 9 and class 10 NCERT. Read, because I will not be able to cover things like pH scale क्या होता है, and because there is time constraint, I cannot go to understanding each salt and acid and base react to form salt. I do not cover these kind of things in class. But what if UPSC asks this? Will not be able to say कि यार this isn't allowed, right? What happened to that guy? Is he sleeping or what? पहले सवाल में ही सो गए. मैं घबरा रहा था, पता नहीं चक्कर आ गया है, क्या हो गया है. So 1C. Everyone is comfortable with this? Let's go to question number 2. One atomic mass unit is equal to C, 1/12 of mass of a carbon atom. Do we understand what atomic mass unit is and why is it 1/12 of the mass of a carbon atom? कोई मुझे बताएगा? देखो, when we consider mass of a atom or mass of a proton or neutron, it's very, very small, and we cannot use the measurement like this is these many kgs, 10 raised to minus 26 kg or 10 raised to minus 27 kg. So while we measure mass of atom, mass of neutron, mass of proton, we use what mechanism? We use a different unit called atomic mass unit, and carbon 12 atom का जितना mass है, it has 6 protons and 6 neutrons. तो carbon 12 atom का जितना mass है, उसका 1/12 is equal to 1 atomic mass unit. So in a way, 6 proton and 6 neutron mass combined together by 12, 1/12 of that is 1 atomic mass unit, and by this we say mass of hydrogen is this much atomic mass unit, mass of helium is this much atomic mass unit. We do not use terms like mass of hydrogen is equal to this much into 10 raised to minus 26 kg. Otherwise, वो will not be a good representation. Okay, let's go to question number 134. Question number 134. Which of the following is not correct regarding isotopes? The isotopes of an atom occupy different places in periodic table. No. Isotope, अब हाइड्रोजन के जितने भी आइसोटोप हैं, it's represented by hydrogen only. Periodic table में they don't occupy different places. That's why B is wrong. Right. Question number 135. Consider the following statements about isobar in nuclear physics. Isobars, देखो isobars ना actually दो different elements of the same mass. So their number of neutrons and protons combined together are same, but they are two different elements. Whereas isotopes are what? Same element with different atomic mass because the number of neutrons were different. Okay, so here what is the answer? Isobars have same mass number, D. Right? Are we comfortable here? Okay. 136. आ जाते हैं अब न्यूक्लियर रिएक्शन पे. Some fundamental things are done. Let's come to question number 136. Which of the following can be considered a nuclear reaction? D. None of them. B. अच्छा. B for boy, D for dog. Dog. No boys are here. मतलब yes, boys are here. D. Sure. Yes. Both of them are chemical reaction. In a nuclear reaction, nuclear should change. Nucleus of the atom should change. Carbon reacting with oxygen forming CO2, वहाँ पे nucleus of carbon has not been affected, or hydrogen reacting with oxygen to form water, यहाँ पे nucleus has not been affected. But hydrogen fusing to form helium, their nucleus is changed. That is a nuclear reaction, not hydrogen reacting with oxygen. So both of them are not nuclear reaction. Answer would be D. Okay. Let's come to a slightly difficult one. Basics. We started with basics. Let's go to more relevant things. Consider the following statements about nuclear fusion reactions. Nuclear fusion reaction. Okay. Take your time. Omindra. C. Pakka. Omindra says C. C. A. Answer is C. Actually, this is something that we learn. The fusion reaction takes place at extremely high temperature. Yes, at the core of sun where the temperature is 15 million degrees Celsius, fusion will take place there. That's true. And scientists over the years with research have identified the easiest thing to fuse is deuterium and tritium. I think class mein we have covered it while studying NIF, National Ignition Facilities achievement. We had covered this aspect that rather than fusing hydrogen and hydrogen, what is easier to fuse? Deuterium and tritium. These are isotopes of hydrogen only. Okay, so C would be the answer. Question number 138. फटाफट आंसर नहीं करना है. देखो, what I recommend students is do not read question paper in advance. Come in class, read the question then and then try to attempt it, because else you will quickly start answering and someone else has not even read the question and the purpose of solving questions in class goes away, reduces. Okay, let's come to question number 138. How many of the above conditions must be fulfilled to achieve fusion in laboratory? D. Yes, we do not need uranium plutonium for fusion, but we had studied this while even again while studying National Ignition Facilities achievement, we had said that these three conditions are necessary for fusion to take place: very high temperature, sufficient plasma particle density. So if sufficient plasma particle density would not happen, then at very high temperature, though the nucleuses would be moving very fast, they will not find each other to fuse. So we need plasma part. Dekho, at very high temperature, hydrogen is present in the form of plasma. It's not present in the form of hydrogen gas. It will break down into H plus and electron, and that's why plasma particle density has to be very high. H plus should be very high so that it will find another H plus to fuse. 2 is correct for that reason. Sufficient confinement time. Now, if at that very high temperature, if at that very high density, they explode quickly and they are not able to remain confined for some time, then they will not be fusing. These three conditions have to be satisfied for fusion reaction to happen, and we achieve these three conditions in both magnetic confinement method and inertial confinement method. I think we have covered both these things in class. Okay, so what is the answer here? C is the answer. 138, answer is C. Let's go to 139. For those of you who are weak in biology, कल का RTFQ would be very crucial. Tomorrow we'll cover biology basics and a lot of health related things. So it's important that you go home and revise. एक तो biology, a few things I've covered in class जिससे UPSC regularly asks questions, but my recommendation would be to read entire biology from class 9 and class 10, so that even obscure question, if it gets, we have sufficient time. All of you must have completed your science and technology. We still have some time, so why not read everything given in NCERT. तो basics बहुत जरूरी होते हैं और वो हमें करना चाहिए. Okay, let's come back to this question number 139. मैं रीड कर लूं. Fusion reactions release more energy. What are the answers? B or C? Okay. Fusion reaction raw material is more readily available. Fusion reaction में raw material क्या चाहिए? Hydrogen. Hydrogen is more readily available than uranium. 1 is correct. Fusion reaction releases more energy per unit of mass. Yes, this is also true. Fusion के केस में ना, if you remember this thing, nucleon binding energy वाला graph. It was something like this. Roughly, it was something like this. Hydrogen was somewhere here. Hydrogen was somewhere here. Then we had helium. Whereas uranium was on this side, and uranium was on this side. यहाँ पे barium, krypton were somewhere here. So the distance is more here. So mass loss would be more here. In case when hydrogen converts into helium, mass loss would be higher when compared to uranium breaking into barium and krypton. जहां ज्यादा mass loss होगा वहां पे more energy would be produced, right? And therefore fusion reaction release more energy per unit of mass compared to fission reaction. This is also true. And fusion takes place at very high temperature in the core of the stars, whereas fission may take place at room temperature. Fission may take place at room temperature also. No issues. Fission की वजह से temperature बढ़ेगा, but uranium has to be bombarded with a slow neutron for fission reaction to happen, and this can happen at room temperature also. So answer would be C. Are we getting this? है ना? अब देखो, we have learned a new thing. Statement 2 is something I don't think we had studied while studying this thing in class. But while making question, I realized that this is an important aspect. Our students should know it, and that's why I included this as one of the statements. Your preparation should be complete. Every aspect that may get asked in the examination, you should be like comfortable with it. In exam, यहाँ पे guess नहीं करना पड़े. In exam, you should be sure about in fission, per unit mass, more energy will be released. Moreover, understand one more thing. देखो, 1 atom of uranium and 4 atoms of hydrogen, which has much higher mass. 1 atom of uranium, so per unit mass, energy produced would be higher where? Here, because here mass is much lesser. Got it? Okay. Question number 140. National Ignition Facility was in news recently for development in which of the following. ये तो cheating हो गया. We are studying nuclear energy and this is the option. But in exam, you will not be doing all the questions of nuclear energy, and at that time when NIF comes, you should be able to answer that. Okay. Question number 141. Acha, today is the last day for pre-Samiksha slot 1. Slot 1 ka registration will stop tonight at 12 and tomorrow you will be able to download your admit cards. We have ensured that जितनी भी problems last समीक्षा में हुई हैं वो सारी get resolved. तो pre समीक्षा 1 का last day for registration is today if you haven't done it. तो pre समीक्षा 1 would be held from 9:30 to 11:30 in the morning and 2:30 to 4:30 in the afternoon this Sunday on 12th of May. तो अगर आपको first slot में exam देना है तो by 12 midnight today please complete your registration and tomorrow you will have your admit cards. पिछली बार क्या हुआ है, a lot of students have just entered without admit card, without roll numbers also, and they just wrote some random roll numbers 1 2 3 4 5 6 and all. This time we want you people to come with soft copy of your admit card. Admit card you'll be able to download from website starting tomorrow. So come with soft copy, if not hard copy, soft copy of your admit card where your name and all those aspects would be there. Okay, so if you haven't registered and if you are interested in attending the test in the first slot, do it before tonight. Come back. In July 2023, National Ignition Facility, we just saw a question on National Ignition Facility, that is about nuclear energy. So what has it done? In July 2023, the National Ignition Facility in a fusion experiment was able to generate energy with nearly a factor of 2 in gain compared with energy of the incoming laser. So what NIF did was, NIF ne using laser, it increased the temperature of hydrogen isotopes to millions of degrees Celsius and achieved fusion. And the amount of energy that it was giving through laser, it was able to, through fusion, it was able to produce almost 2 times that energy. This is called gain, 2 in gain. If you are giving me 1 unit of energy, I am producing 2 unit of energy. It was able to achieve that. Consider the following statements about the experiment. The experiment that happened where this was achieved, consider the following statements. How many of the above are true? I have also tried to ensure that नए वाले pattern पे questions रहे. That's why rather than just asking कि which of the above are correct, how many of the above are correct is also something that we are asking. Tell me. Only 2 or only 3? देखो, first, what about statement 1? Experiment used inertial confinement method? Yes. NIF used inertial confinement method, whereas ITER used magnetic confinement method. 1 is correct. The experiment used a device called Holrom? Yes. वो क्या use करता है ITER? Tokamak. That in ITER the device used is tokamak. Here the Holrom device was used. What is this? It's a device जहाँ पे a few centimeter capsule is there and inside it a few millimeter capsule is there. In this few millimeter of capsule we have deuterium and tritium, and when laser hits it, hits the outer covering, it generates a lot of X-rays which goes and heats up the inside capsule where hydrogen or deuterium and tritium, that is hydrogen isotopes, are there. The temperature rises to such a level that something the situation which is there in the sun's core is achieved and fusion takes place there. So this device is called Holram. Are we understanding this? So this was used. The outcome can be easily translated into fusion energy reactor? No. It's just the beginning. Abhi it's going, in lab they have achieved it once or twice. That is not easily going to get converted into, commercial reactor. Moreover, what they have achieved is, they have achieved this. When we say gain of 2 means whatever energy was received by it, it was able to produce 2 times the energy. But the energy which was actually supplied to it, or the energy that was used to generate these laser beams, are 100 times more. supplied 1 unit, let's say 0.5 unit of energy, it supplied 0.5 unit of energy, so 1 unit of energy reached here and it produced 2 unit of energy. That's why we are saying gain. But to produce this 0.5 unit of energy, here they used 100 times more energy. So in the overall system, we haven't achieved gain. So a commercial reactor would come into play when we are achieving gain overall, and this thing can be converted into nuclear power reactor. This is not the situation right now. So right now we are pretty far away from a commercial reactor. So 3 is wrong. So answer is B. You should know why answer is B. Like you could have guessed कि 1 is wrong, 2, 3 are correct, and even then you could have marked answer to be B. आज UPSC ने answer की भी दिया है, उसमें a lot of confusions is there, like a lot of obvious things they have marked wrong. Nocturnal वाला क्वेश्चन तुमने ऐसे गुस्सा मत हो यार, क्या गलत हो गया? And that is why, no, what we have to ensure, there is unpredictability in their answer key also. There are a few answers which they for sure are wrong. The few answers that they have marked is for sure wrong. Okay, so what we should not target 75, 80, 85. You should try to ensure कि यार 90s में आए, एक दो आंसर ऊपर नीचे, doesn't matter. I should score 100. ना अब कर दो कितनी गड़बड़ियां करोगे, right? Do not try to stay on the edge for both CSAT and CS. Try to ensure that you are very well prepared. अभी time है अच्छे से prepare करने का. Cut down on your useless time waste and focus more on studies, and you will be able to get that extra edge. UM is asking what is meant by low inclination orbit and how is it different from low Earth orbit. Beta, low Earth orbit is about height from the Earth. If you are at a height of less than 2000 kilometers from Earth, then you are in low Earth orbit. Low inclination is about angle. With equator, what is the angle? So this is equator. If you are going like this in a polar orbit, you have high inclination. If you are going like this, you have low inclination. Equator say your orbit is making how much angle, that is deciding your inclination. Anyways, so we got diverted a bit. Do we know the answer for this? Answer is B, 2 only. Let's go to question number 142. This is a past year question. In which one of the following location is the ITER project to be built? B, France. We have studied it in class. We studied ITER project and we noted that it is being built in France. Okay. 143. This was asked in Prelims 2016. Again ITER wala question. Dekho, why PYQs are important? The answer is ITER is about fusion reaction, and in fusion, what will we be able to do? यहाँ पे they are saying if the ITER experiment is successful, what would happen? We'll be able to use fusion for energy production. Simple question. We have studied way more about ITER. It will be using tokamak, what kind of device tokamak is, it will be using magnetic confinement method and all those things. They have asked basic things in the past twice. If they now want to go into the details of ITER, we are prepared even for that. Okay, what happened, Rohit? AC बंद करवा रहे हैं, कूलिंग ज्यादा कर रही है, कोई संडे को आके आप लड़ोगे सर कूलिंग नहीं कर रही है. Everyone feels कि it's ज़्यादा cooling. भाई मुझे गर्मी लग रही है, मेरे वाला बंद मत करना. Okay, let's come back. 144. Let me read that. Tokamak is a machine that confines plasma using magnetic field in a donut shape that scientists call a torus. Okay. It uses the method of inertial confinement method. No, it uses method of magnetic confinement. The inertial confinement method is used by Holram. NIF जो कर रहा है, that is using inertial confinement method. Okay, so only A, 1 only is the answer, A is the answer. Okay, 145. Consider the following statements. Only one? A? कौन बोल रहा है ये बिना हाथ उठाए? ऐसे नहीं बोल, सबको कर लेने दीजिए, जब मैं पूछूंगा तब बताइए. ऐसे पीपल हु आर रीडिंग इट वो पहले सोच लेंगे ए है राइट. देखो गेन, this definition is correct, but so far no fusion experiment has achieved ignition of with a gain of more than 1 is wrong, because in December 2022 NIF was able to do it with a gain of more than 1, and in July 2023 they almost achieved a gain of 2. So abhi right now when you are doing it in sequence, it appears, these questions appears very simple, but when they were, if they had come separately in UPSC, they are not going to ask 10 questions on nuclear science and tech only. They will not be all connected to each other. What I am trying to ensure is everything that we have studied, we solve a question on that, so that in exam our preparation would be kind of sorted. You are able to revise this thing here. Come to question number 146. Come to 146. Consider the following statements about nuclear binding energy. Aman, हम देखेंगे, हम will discuss about it, will discuss what went wrong. I was saying no कि अभी भी यूपीएससी के आंसर की में कुछ गड़बड़ियां हैं, हमारे आंसर की में भी कुछ गड़बड़ियां हो सकती हैं. We'll sit and analyze what went wrong where, and then we'll talk about it. Okay, let's come to question number 146. Would someone? D? Both are wrong? A? One is correct. Okay. How many A is? Okay. D? 2D. Dog. Answer is D. देखो, when we say it in general increases, it increases only till iron. After that, it decreases. We cannot say that in general it increases. Iron के बाद there are so many other atoms, and it is on a downward trend. Highest nuclear binding energy is of, per nucleon is of iron, and I have repeated this again and again in space class also while talking about life of star. Ki star will become red giant will become white dwarf will become black dwarf, then how neutron star would be formed, how black holes would be formed. While talking about all those things, we had said that fusion will only take place till iron. After that, nuclear binding energy actually decreases, and therefore fusion cannot take place. What would happen? Fission will take place. Uranium breaks into. So when energy production happens, when either through fission or fusion, the elements go from lower side to upper side. So hydrogen will go to helium, helium will go to carbon, uranium will come to barium and krypton. Right? So after iron, it actually nuclear binding energy per nucleon goes down. Right? So one for sure is wrong. It's highest, no, it's lowest for hydrogen. Nuclear binding energy per nucleon is highest for a hydrogen nucleus, it's lowest, and therefore answer would be D, neither 1 nor 2. Question number 147. 147. बताइए. D? All four are correct. Right? All four are correct for nuclear fission. D is the answer. 147, D is the answer. Any doubts here? If you have any doubts, I'll discuss it. 147 में any doubts? No? 148. Heavy water reactor. Heavy water reactor can work on unenriched uranium. We have studied this. Heavy water is a better moderator, so more neutrons would be available. When more neutrons are available, even if uranium is not enriched and less amount of U-235 is there, this more number of neutrons will be able to find those less amount of uranium-235. So pressurized heavy water reactor can, this was one of the advantages of pressurized heavy water reactor, right? When we spoke about advantages of pressurized heavy water reactor, we had said heavy water is a better moderator, and thus what would happen? Even on unenriched uranium, जहाँ पे हमने uranium का enrichment पढ़ा था, वहाँ पे we spoke about कि we, in general what do we need? We need to enrich uranium-235 to 3 to 7%, but in case of heavy water reactors, we do not need this enrichment. Make sense? Okay. 148 का D. 149. Can I please discuss fast breeder reactor? यार उसमें तो समय लग जाएगा, मैं आपको क्लास के बाद अकेले में समझा दूंगा, है ना. यहाँ पे मोस्ट ऑफ द स्टूडेंट्स आर दो स्टूडेंट्स हु हैव स्टडीड इन क्लास विद मी, तो राइट. तो 149. Which of the following is the main function of a moderator in a nuclear power reactor? इसका फोन बज रहा है भाई. हाँ, what is the answer? B for boy. Okay. B के अलावा किसी का कोई आंसर है? C. C is B and C. Anything else? Anything else? 149. C is the answer. देखो, moderator absorbs the extra neutron. Control rods does it. Cadmium का control rod आता है ना, it absorbs extra neutron. Moderator does what? Moderator slows down the neutron. Neutron which is produced during fission is very fast. It may actually go out of the nuclear power plant. So to make it available for reaction, moderator is there, and water acts as moderator. Water slows down the neutron so that neutron is available for reaction. ये तो देखो, this is the role of coolant, this is the role of control rod, and this is the role of moderator. In a nuclear power plant, this is the role of moderator. Okay. आप लोगों ने nuclear science and tech, जो outside students who have not studied science from me, you haven't studied nuclear science and tech properly. वो आपके expressions दिखा रहे हैं, हाँ? पढ़ा है? Okay, okay. देखो, let me just spend 1 minute to explain a nuclear power plant and its components. This is the reaction that we need to that needs to happen. Uranium, a large nucleus, which is uranium-235-92. You do not have to remember this number, but it's a large nucleus. When it is bombarded with a small neutron, with a slow neutron, it breaks into two smaller nucleuses, barium and krypton, and it produces 3 neutrons. It produces 3 neutrons. Plus, mass of this side is higher than mass of this side. So some mass has been lost. That mass gets converted into energy. This energy will be delta M into C square, where M is the mass that has been lost. Mass of this side is higher, mass of this side is lower. So some mass has been lost. This is delta M. That is converted into energy as per the Einstein's equation. Okay, now in a nuclear power plant, let me draw a nuclear power plant. One thing is, this is my fuel, uranium-235 rods. So initially when I use the neutron, after that I don't need, because in every reaction 3 neutrons are getting produced. But these neutrons are produced at very high energy, and these neutrons will be able to go out of the nuclear power plant. We need to slow them down. So to slow them down, we need moderator. Moderator is doing what? Moderator is slowing down these neutrons and making these neutrons available for reaction. Okay, first point, did we understand what moderator would do? Then please note here, one uranium atom, when it fissioned, it produced 3 neutrons. So So next time 3 neutrons are available, so 3 uranium atom will fission, then 9, then 27, then 81, it is going towards uncontrolled reaction, it will become a nuclear bomb. So we do not want that to happen, therefore we will absorb extra neutrons. First, this neutron has been made available, otherwise this neutron would have gone out. Moderator has stopped it, moderator has slowed it down, but we do not want to use all these neutrons. Extra neutrons would be absorbed by control rods. So ये जो 3 neutron है, perhaps it will be reduced to 2 neutrons or 1 neutrons by control rod will absorb the extra neutron. So cadmium, जैसे water was acting as moderator, cadmium is used as control rod. Are we getting this? So did you understand both the things, moderator and control rod? Now Himanshu नाम है ना आपका, Himanshu asked sir एक fast breeder reactor भी समझा. Okay, let me take another 1 minute and explain what fast breeder reactor is. See, in nature what happens, uranium, when we mine uranium, most of the uranium, 99% of the uranium is uranium 238. 99%. But what is our fuel? Uranium 235. Uranium 235 is fissile. That is, when bombarded with a slow neutron, it breaks into barium and krypton and produces energy. Uranium 238 is not fissile. Uranium 238 is not fissile. So it's just a waste for us. But when we mine uranium, most of the uranium is, more than 99% of uranium is uranium 238. Okay, the uranium 238 is waste for us, but uranium 238 can be converted into something useful by a fast neutron, not by a slow neutron. Moderator did what? Moderator slowed down the neutron. Don't slow down the neutron. Use a fast neutron, and fast neutron will convert, when it bombarded with a fast neutron, it will, by a number of steps, will eventually convert into plutonium 239. And plutonium 239 is a fuel for us. So this is what happens in a fast breeder reactor, because neutrons here are fast. We can call it fast neutron reactor or fast breeder reactor. Why? Because it has bred new fuel. U-238 was not fuel for us, but it has given birth to plutonium. It has bred new fuel. That's why this is also known as fast breeder reactor. So in fast breeder reactor, we will not use a moderator, because moderator would have slowed down the neutron. We don't want that. This neutron has to be fast. Moderator would have slowed down the neutron. We do not want that. This neutron has to be fast. India is very much interested in fast breeder reactor, not because of this, this will be able to convert a lot of waste into useful energy, because we have lots of thorium. And thorium is like uranium 238. When we mine thorium, most of it is thorium 232, like uranium 238, and it is not fissile. But when bombarded with a fast neutron, when thorium bombarded with a fast neutron, will convert into uranium 230, and uranium 233 is fissile. So we are focused on fast breeder reactor because we do not have a lot of uranium, but we have thorium. So once we are able to develop fast breeder reactor, what would happen? We will convert our thorium into uranium 233, and uranium 233 is fissile, can be used for fuel production. There are various other advantages of using thorium. Thorium, we don't have to worry about enrichment, because the thorium that we need is the thorium which is found in nature the most. Uranium 233 cannot be easily used in nuclear weapons. That's another advantage. Uranium 235 or plutonium could be used in nuclear weapon. Hiroshima and Nagasaki, two nuclear bombs which fell on Hiroshima and Nagasaki, one of them was made up of uranium 235, other was made up of plutonium. Do we get it? So, did you get an idea of fast breeder reactor? वैसे we need to cover a lot more things. In class we have covered a lot more things about fast breeder reactor, but अभी के लिए this is what we'll be able to do. Okay, let's come back. More doubts? Sorry? Just give me a second. 149. What is the answer for 149? C is the answer. Everyone is comfortable. Okay. 148. What's your name? Harsha. Harsha is having doubt in 148. Yes. No. Actually, see, when it comes to uranium, देखो, in fast breeder reactor, what you will do is your uranium 238 is getting converted into plutonium 239, right? And for that reason you are saying, but eventually fuel that is used is plutonium 239. Okay, but when it comes to this thing, pressurized heavy water reactor, fuel is U235 and it is unenriched. It's less than 0.5% in the entire system, or it's less than 1% in the entire system, and you are able to use it as fuel because heavy water ensures that there are more neutrons available. So even if less U235 is there, it will be able to find them and hit them and make fission happen. Okay. So 149 is done. Let's come to 150. AKKR. These are the names that you keep on YouTube. Is asking, sir, will thorium reactor use slow or fast neutron? Can fast neutron cause fission of? Thorium will use fast neutron to convert thorium into uranium 233. After that, uranium 233 ka normal fission would go on. Okay, let's come to 150. So the following. D, C. Anything else other than C and D? C. C is the answer. Water, heavy water and graphite. They are used as moderator. Liquid sodium is not a moderator. It's not a good moderator. So when we need fast breeder reactor, in fast breeder reactor you cannot use moderator because you want your neutron to be fast, but you would need coolant. What is coolant? Coolant will transfer energy. The fission will produce heat. Heat has to be transferred to steam generator. So you will need coolant. So there, in general, in other reactors where we were using water as moderator, water was also acting as coolant. But in fast breeder reactor, we cannot use water as coolant because water will also act as moderator. In fast breeder reactor, we cannot use water as coolant because water will also act as moderator. So we use some other coolant. What coolant? Liquid sodium. Say India ka prototype fast breeder reactor. Prototype fast breeder reactor of India. India has developed a prototype fast breeder reactor. It is still in like testing phase, you may say, or development phase, you may say. It's not commercially available. So in this reactor, which is the coolant that we are using? Liquid sodium. It is fast breeder reactor. We cannot use moderator. Okay. So what is the answer? Which of the following may be used as moderator in nuclear power plants? 1, 2 and 3 may be used. C is the answer. How heavy water? Dekho, I'll have to go into detailed chemistry that you study at graduate level. Will not do that. But please understand, water is a good moderator. Now, in heavy water, we have more number of neutrons. So its nuclear property would be different. So when it interacts with a fast neutron, it will be able to absorb more of the energy and will be able to slow down neutrons more effectively. Okay, it will be able to slow down neutrons more effectively. Now, how would all that happen? We do not have to, even in class 12, we don't study that. We'll have to go to graduation level chemistry to understand that, and we don't need to do that for UPSC preliminary examination. Okay, let's come to question number 151. Come again? Yes? Okay. Okay. I'm saying, why are you going into covalency and all those things? Can UPSC ask this in preliminary examination? Okay, you taught in LN. So I'm saying, can these things be asked in preliminary examination? Nahi na. So we don't need to go there. Okay, let's come back. Question number 151. Question number 151. Take your time. This is a kind of question which UPSC has been asking these days. So liquid sodium is used as coolant in fast breeder reactor. We all know that by now. If it was asked as a separate question, it may have been difficult, but now we know that liquid sodium can be used as coolant because it's not a good moderator. And in fast breeder reactor, we do not want a good moderator. Fine. Liquid sodium is highly reactive and burns when contacted with water or air. That's also true. Sodium, potassium, these are highly reactive metals. So reason is also true. But is reason the correct explanation? No. We use liquid sodium because liquid sodium is a poor moderator. Not because it burns easily when in contact with water or air. Why do we use liquid sodium as coolant? We use liquid sodium as coolant because it will be able to transfer heat. So it is acting as coolant, but it is a poor moderator. That is the reason. Not because of this. So this is true. R is true, but R is not the correct explanation. So B would be the answer. Right? Are we all getting it? Are we all understanding how B would be the answer? Ovendra, coffee पी रहे हो तुम यहाँ बैठे बैठे? नहीं? अकेले अकेले? 152. 152. Let's come to question number 152. This is a preliminary examination question, Prelims 2006. In which one of the following areas did Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, IGCAR, abhi we just discussed it for what? Prototype fast breeder reactor. जो इंडिया का prototype fast breeder reactor है ना, we just spoke about prototype fast breeder reactor. India has developed its prototype fast breeder reactor. It's still in developmental phase, or we call it to be in technology demonstration phase. We have built it, but it has not yet achieved criticality, right? It is located where? Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research. So the question is 2005 question, in which one of the following areas did Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research make significant progress? A. Common sense we can understand, reprocessing of uranium plutonium mixed carbide fuel of the fast breeder test reactor. एक तो fast breeder reactor पे, this is what Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research is working. Moreover, reprocessing. See, when we have uranium 238 left, after uranium 235 has been exhausted, what is left? Uranium 238. When we process it, we can convert that uranium 238 into plutonium 239. That is something that will happen at fast breeder reactor. Again at Indira Gandhi Center for Atomic Research, the answer should be A. Right? Are we understanding this? Dekho, just because we are doing PYQs, it includes PYQs, we understand that we have to focus on fast breeder reactors. Otherwise, no one focuses on these things. Moreover, in 2017 mains examination, they had asked what are the advantages of fast breeder reactor in mains examination. So they can definitely ask it in preliminary examination. Mains ka syllabus is way more well defined than preliminary exam. Preliminary examination, they have asked very obscure questions as well. So if in mains they have asked fast breeder reactor, we should properly understand what fast breeder reactor is for preliminary examination. Okay, let's go to question number 153. Question number 153. I just said that our prototype fast breeder reactor has not achieved criticality, but in news was other reactors, our fission reactors who have recently achieved criticality. So this term was in news. Uranium reactors have achieved, this uranium reactor achieved criticality, that uranium reactor achieved criticality. So what is meant by criticality? C. Fission chain is self-sustaining, that is when a reactor's neutron population remains steady from one generation to the next, creating as many new neutrons as are lost. This is criticality. See, uranium when bombarded with one neutron breaks into barium, krypton and produces 3 neutron, right? Eventually what do we want? We want that we are able to achieve a steady reaction. So the neutrons which are getting consumed, at least that much neutron should be getting produced. If we'll have less number of neutrons, then what would happen? Reaction will eventually end because we need neutron on this side for reaction to happen. So criticality is a situation when you are producing enough number of neutrons that reaction can sustain. C is that. So recently एक fission reactor है. I think Kakrapara is the place. No, Tarapur wala nahi, ye to Kakrapara wala hai. Two of the reactors, one started commercial production and other has recently achieved criticality. It's there in your notes. We have studied it in nuclear science and technology current affairs section. We have studied that. So it achieves criticality. This is what is meant by criticality. 153C. Let's go to 154. Again, a prelims 2012 question. To meet its rapidly growing energy demand, some opine that India should pursue research and development on thorium as the future fuel of nuclear energy. In this context, what advantage does thorium has over uranium? Should I open the options? Okay, here we have. C. D. Answer is D. Answer is D. I'll explain how answer is D. First, thorium is far more abundant in nature than uranium. So yes, देखो thorium coastal areas में sand में monazite soil में मिल रहा है. Uranium is not that abundant. Now you may say कि sir, what if uranium is available more in Earth's crust? So far, whatever study has been done, whatever scientists have found, uranium is there 3-4 times more than, sorry, thorium is there 3-4 times more than uranium. So you say you can remember as a fact also that we have more thorium than uranium in the world. It just the world has not yet developed fast breeder reactors, so we are not able to convert thorium into uranium-233 and still not able to use it. That's why our dependency is very high on uranium. But world has what more? World has more of what? Thorium. Remember this first aspect. Second, on the basis of per unit mass of mined mineral, thorium can generate more energy compared to natural uranium. Why did you say it's wrong? Dekho, when it comes to natural uranium, the fuel is only uranium-235. Most of the natural uranium is what? Uranium-238. It's not fuel. Whereas when it comes to thorium, most of the thorium is the thorium that we need, which when bombarded with fast neutron will convert into uranium-233. Plus, now you may say, sir, even U-238, which is waste, may convert into plutonium. Plus, it is far better, far easier and far safer to convert most of the thorium into uranium-233 than uranium-238 converting into plutonium. Okay, and that is why 2 is also true. Finally, coming to third one, thorium produces less harmful waste compared to uranium. This we have studied in class. It's safer. It produces less actinide products. We have studied this in class. You can also remember this. Now, if you want to write something about it, just write this: कि thorium reactor produce less of radioactive actinides. Thorium reactors produce less of thorium reactor produce less of long-lived radioactive actinides. Long-lived actinides, which are nasty, मतलब harmful waste products, which are harmful waste products that take thousands of years to decay. Which are harmful waste products that take, thousands of years to decay. So when compared to uranium reactors, thorium produces less of these things. Thorium, the waste that thorium creates, they also create some radioactive waste, but they have shorter half-lives. तो they will disintegrate, degrade much faster, but they have longer half lives. जो यूरेनियम जो एक्टिनाइड सीरीज में का वेस्ट प्रोड्यूस करता है, it has longer half life and thus the thorium produces less harmful waste when compared to uranium. So all three are correct. Answer would be fine. अब देखो UPSC has gone in the past, in 2012 it was going in this much depth. तो इतना तो prepared रहना चाहिए ना हमारा, and that is why now for students who are studying nuclear science and tech with me, why I was going into the details of fast breeder reactor, fast neutron reactor, thorium, advantages of thorium, limitations of thorium, you will understand it on the basis of this question. Okay, now let's go to question number 155. D, C, A, B भी बोल दो, then I'll have complete A, B, C, D to discuss. Let's first look at first one. Thorium is a fissile isotope. Thorium is not fissile. Uranium-230 was fissile. Uranium-238 was not fissile. In the same way, thorium was not fissile. Thorium is converted into uranium-233, which is fissile. One is wrong. So for those of you who said D, are for sure wrong. C कितने लोगों ने बोला? बस इतने. On D, how many of you said D? Now no one would raise hand. No one said D. Like, so A, B है. Anyone in A, B? B. A few students are saying B. Okay. So one is wrong. Thorium is more abundant than uranium, produce similar energy output. Yes. You know, slightly higher, but that's similar. That's why similar. Thorium fuel cycle produces less long-lived radioactive waste compared to uranium. We just discussed this. So 2 and 3 are correct. 1 is wrong. Right. So B and C में से कुछ होना चाहिए. Let's go to fourth. Thorium reactors can achieve higher operating temperature than uranium reactor. That is true. Thorium reactors can achieve higher operating temperature. ऐसे भी सोचो देखो, fast breeder reactor. I'm just giving you a trick. I'm not giving you the exact scientific reason. Fast breeder reactor. Neutrons are at much higher temperature. So they must be. The fast breeder reactor should be able to function at much higher temperature. So thorium reactors can achieve higher operating temperature than uranium reactor. And उसके advantages भी हैं. If you can function at much higher temperature, the coolant can have much higher temperature and heat can be easily transferred to that. So this is also correct. So what is the answer? C is the answer. Thorium reactors can achieve higher operating temperature than uranium reactor. So C is the answer. Right? Are we getting it? Okay. 156. Again a preliminary examination question. (156). B. B. So what happened was, India is still not a member of NSG, but India got waiver from NSG. So other NSG members started supplying us with raw material because India has waiver. Otherwise, NSG says that only if you are a member of NSG, you will be supplied raw material, etc. In fact, if you go to the history of NSG, NSG was created against India. India did not have raw material from other countries for making nuclear weapons. But using raw material for civilian purposes, we got raw material, we got equipments for what? For nuclear power plant. Using that, we were able to make nuclear weapon. So NSG was formed, where member countries agreed, we will not supply nuclear material to any country which is not signing NSG or which is not part of NSG, and if you are part of NSG, you say that you are not going to make nuclear weapon. Other than the P5 countries, no one will be making nuclear weapons. You must be a signatory of NPT. That is a condition which says that you will not be making nuclear. Other than P5 countries, no one else would have nuclear weapons. Are we getting this? Do we have clarity here? So when India got waiver from NSG, that is NSG members can supply us raw material. India promised that we will not be using any of those things for nuclear weapons, arms. So it was agreed that if you are getting raw material into some nuclear power plant, it will come under IAEA's jurisdiction, or IAEA will inspect that, and you will have to follow IAEA safeguard. For nuclear power plant where India is using its own material, it will not come under IAEA safeguard. India bargained for this, and the other side bargained. If we are supplying you with raw material, if you are supplying you with equipment, then International Atomic Energy Agency should be able to have its guidelines implemented, have its say there, and that is why answer is B. Where we are using imported uranium, it is under IAEA's safeguards. Where we are not using imported uranium, India has agreed to not have any, India has ensured that there will be no inspection and those things there. Okay, let's go to question number 157. Which of the following sources of energy has the least carbon footprint? Now, we are studying nuclear energy, that is why. So, but your question would be, sir, but solar energy does not produce any CO2. Now, solar energy is not producing any CO2, so why are we saying that nuclear energy has least carbon footprint? Because to make that panel, some CO2 may have been used. One solar panel, to make one solar panel, some CO2 may have been used, and then it will produce, let's say, X amount of energy. It used 100 units of electricity for its manufacturing, and it will produce X amount of energy. So, for X unit of energy, you have produced 100 unit of electricity. Now, when it comes to nuclear power plant, it uses a lot of carbon initially to make nuclear power plant, but after that it is able to produce a lot of energy without any CO2. So, for per unit energy, the carbon footprint is much lower in case of nuclear power plant when compared to solar or hydro or anything else. Per unit energy, the carbon footprint for nuclear is much lower. Did we all understand this? You didn't understand it? No, the other person, Vaishnavi. You did understand. Okay. Do we have clarity on this? 158. Which of the following type of radioactive, now we are again going to basics, NCERT. NCERT ka radioactivity wala chapter, we are making some questions out of there. Okay. There are only 30 likes and 100 people are watching. क्या तो गलत बात है? You're not liking the classes? Like करो, नलायक बच्चों. मैं बच्चों को नलायक बोल रहा हूँ और बोल रहा हूँ मेरे वीडियो को like करो. देख रहे हो? Guys, do like and share the video. It will help us reach more people. In case you like it, in case you are benefiting from it, only then. Otherwise, dislike, no problem. But dislike and go. It should not be like you dislike the class and then you still stick with it. Okay, let's go to question number 158. हाँ, answer बताइए. Beta decay. Sure. Okay. Which of the following type of radioactivity will not lead to change in atomic number of the nucleus? I think D should be the answer. Gamma में तो we are just releasing energy. Give me 1 second. Alpha में 2 protons and 2 neutrons would go, है ना? So what? Which of the following type of radioactivity will not lead to change in atomic number? तो protons will reduce, तो atomic number change होगा. In beta decay, what happens? Your neutron converts into proton plus electron. So your proton has increased, atomic number would change. In beta plus decay, your proton converts into न्यूट्रॉन प्लस पॉजिट्रॉन। एक मिनट, बीटा प्लस डीके में क्या होता है? न्यूट्रॉन प्लस, हाँ दैट इज देयर। तो यहाँ पे बीटा प्लस डीके में क्या हुआ? प्रोटॉन हैज रिड्यूस्ड, एटॉमिक नंबर वुड चेंज। वेयर वुड इट नॉट चेंज? गामा, गामा is just releasing energy, it's not making changes in any of the particles. Gamma is just releasing energy, it's not making changes in neutrons and protons, right? alpha helium nuclei release होता है। तो let me give you an example here. आप हमारे स्टूडेंट नहीं है क्या? हो, तुम स्टूडेंट हो मेरे और ऐसे सवाल पूछ रहे हो? At least we have this schedule. We'll be doing space, astronomy, nuclear science tech. At least वो रिवाइज करके तो आ जाते। Alpha decay, like we emit a helium nucleus. This is what is emitted. For example, radium 226. It will give up alpha particle to become radon 222. So atomic mass will change by 4, atomic number will change by, so here also atomic number changes. Got it? Okay. Question number, so what is the answer? D is the answer. D, actually, even if you did not know anything, alpha particle, beta plus, beta minus, gamma is just energy release. How would it change? Atomic number or mass number, anything like that? It should have been easy to answer. Okay, let's go to question number 159. Question number 159. देखो, when alpha particle is emitted, neutron to proton ratio goes up, right? When alpha particle is no, goes up. मुझे पता है थोड़ा है ना। लेट मी एक्सप्लेन यू कैसे न्यूट्रॉन टू प्रोटॉन रेशियो कम होता है। आपने बस बोल दिया दोनों से दो कम हो गया, बट रेशियो कम करने की बात कर रहे हैं ना। लेट मी गिव यू एन एग्जांपल। अब नाराज मत होइए, नाराज हो रहे हैं क्या? लेट्स टेक ऐसे रैंडम एग्जांपल ऑफ यूरेनियम। हाँ, लेट्स टेक अ रैंडम एग्जांपल ऑफ यूरेनियम। इससे अल्फा पार्टिकल एमिशन नहीं होता है, बट जस्ट टेक एन एग्जांपल। यूरेनियम में वी हैव 92 प्रोटॉन्स and let's say uranium 238 है, तो how many neutrons are there? 146. Here we have 146 neutrons and how many protons? 92. What is neutron to proton ratio? 146 by 92. Right? If I remove alpha particle, 2 protons and 2 neutrons will reduce. What would it become? 144 by 90. What is higher? Neutron to proton ratio change? No. You were thinking because 2 protons and 2 neutrons would go, nothing would happen. Neutron to proton ratio has increased. Neutron to proton ratio has increased. Right? Did you understand it? जो आप नाराज हो गए थे मुझसे, समझ में आया ना? Neutron to proton ratio has gone up. So when a nucleus is unstable because of lower neutron to proton ratio, it may emit alpha particle or positron to become stable. Positron emission में क्या होता है? A neutron converts into a proton converts into neutron plus positron. So when your neutron to proton ratio is low, you will try to increase your neutron to proton ratio. So when your proton converts into neutron, are you increasing your neutron to proton ratio? So in two conditions, there are two. When your neutron to proton ratio is low, you may emit alpha particle or you may emit a positron to go towards stability. Now, देखो, in nature this reaction does not take place. Uranium will not emit alpha particle. This was just to explain you that emission of alpha particle brings down your neutron to proton ratio. Are we getting it? So let's come back. Radium-226 is radioactive element. Is it radioactive? Yes. Radium-226 has a lower neutron to proton ratio. Why is it radioactive? Why is it unstable? It's unstable because when compared to stable situation, it has lower neutron to proton ratio. So it will emit an alpha particle to become stable. More stable when compared to radium wala situation. So both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. Both A and R are correct, and R is the correct explanation of A. Are we all comfortable with this? Okay. Question number 160. Acha, if an unstable nucleus has lower neutron to proton ratio, it may become more stable by which of the following types of radiation? Alpha and positron. By two mechanisms, alpha decay and beta plus decay. So 1 and 3, B would be the answer here. I just explained this. Question number 161. Consider the following statements about non-ionizing radiation. Please note non-ionizing radiations. Question is about non-ionizing radiation. Consider the following statements about non-ionizing radiation. Visible light and infrared radiation are non-ionizing in nature. What is ionizing radiation? Ionizing radiation is that radiation which may separate the electron. So you are creating ions. तो bond break करना होगा. So generally high energy radiations are ionizing. Visible light or infrared or microwaves or radio waves, these are lower energy radiations and they will not be ionizing in nature. So the question is, which of the following, consider the following statements about ionizing. Visible light and infrared radiations are non-ionizing. That is true. Okay. Exposure to excess visible light may lead to breaking of molecular bonds of material on which it falls. Not necessary. Now, in case of ionizing radiation, that molecular bond may be broken, not by visible light. So ultraviolet, X-rays, gamma rays may be breaking those bonds. Visible light will not be able to do. It is lower energy thing. Okay, so what is the answer? Only A. Visible light are non-ionizing, exposure to excess. A is the answer, one only. Which of the following types of radiation can penetrate a lead iron metal plate? मैं तो मारना शुरू करूंगा. मैं क्लास नहीं कर रहा है. Neutron is the most penetrating in nature and it can be stopped by water or concrete. That's why its moderator was water. Else nuclear power plant में हम एक thick steel और lead का दीवार बना देते, neutron would not have gone out. Neutron can even penetrate that. Neutron can be stopped by water. That's why water is used as moderator. Nuclear power plant is made up of concrete. So concrete, water, they play a role in controlling neutron. But neutron, which of the following types of radiation can penetrate lead iron? Neutron can penetrate even lead iron. Okay, like alpha particle can perhaps be stopped by a sheet of paper. In classroom we had covered it. What can be stopped by a sheet of paper, what can be stopped by a piece of wood, what can be stopped by metal, thin plate, thick plate, and then finally neutron was something that was crossing everything and was stopped by water. You did not, you studied energy and after that मैंने nuclear science and technology जो पढ़ाया है, ignored it. है ना? That is why this mistake. Let's come to 163. Consider the following statements about mass spectrometry. Now, this is a intentionally difficult question made by my side. And just like in UPSC, you will get a few questions about which are very difficult and you may not still be able to answer them. है ना? Only to देखो science का teacher ने answer कर दिया. Nice. देखते हैं, अभी देखते हैं. Try it. Though I have covered it in class. (163) Consider the following. Online students are not answering. Why are they not answering? It is useful. What is the answer? B. Only 2. Third वाला correct नहीं है. Third वाला statement correct नहीं है. Let me give you a brief explanation. देखो, mass spectrometry में mass to charge ratio is taken into consideration. अब when you are taking that into consideration, what happens is when you have isotopes which have different masses but charge would be similar, so you will be able to separate them. Okay, so it is used for measuring mass to charge ratio of one or more molecule present in sample. That is true about mass spectrometry. It is used in radiocarbon dating. That is also true. Latest method that is used is in radiocarbon dating is this mass spectrometry mechanism. But initially, when radiocarbon dating was started, we did not use mass spectrometry. They say this Geiger counter, it did not use mass spectrometry. It used some other mechanisms. It used some other mechanisms for identifying the amount of carbon-14 left and thus the date of a product. Okay, now the methods that we use, जैसे accelerator mass spectrometry. This is the method that we use. There we use mass spectrometry only for determining how much carbon-14 is left, and by that how old is this product. How much carbon-14 is left determines how old the product is by carbon dating. In Mohenjo-daro, in Harappan civilization, you must have studied that we were able to determine the right age of Harappa after carbon-14, after we started using carbon-14 dating. कहाँ पर? यहाँ पे कैसे पता करोगे? Let's come back. देखो, when you get a wooden object, how does carbon-14 work? Let's first understand that. In atmosphere, carbon-14 and carbon-12 have a specific ratio. In our atmosphere, carbon-14 and carbon-12 has specific ratio. When a plant is taking in CO2, it is taking carbon-14 also, it is taking carbon-12 also. So when a plant is alive, its carbon-14 and carbon-12 has a unique ratio. But the moment you cut the plant is dead, you made a toy out of it. You made a building out of it. Using timber, you made a building. Okay. Carbon-14 is radioactive and it will keep on reducing. Carbon-12 will not. So let's say we get that piece of wood 5,000 years later. We do not know how old is that. While excavation, we found that piece of wood. We will identify how much of carbon-14 is there. In nature, carbon-14 should be this much, but this much carbon-14 has reduced. It means this much time may have been passed from the time it has been cut. And by that we determine the age. By that we determine the age. अब यहाँ पे कैसे करेंगे? हो गए. आपका नाम क्या है? विवेक, यहाँ पे कैसे करोगे कार्बन-14 डेटिंग? कैसे? कार्बन-14 डेटिंग से कैसे करोगे? अरे मैं पूछ रहा हूं ना, प्रताड़ित करने लग गए लोगों को. हाँ, यहां पे नहीं कर पाओगे ना. आपको कोई ऑब्जेक्ट चाहिए तब कर पाओगे. मतलब कार्बन-14 इज नॉट टाइम मशीन, है ना. वहां पे कोई ऑब्जेक्ट जिसमें कार्बन-14 था एंड दैट इज गेटिंग रिड्यूस्ड, ओनली दैट can be used for dating. And even then, something which is very old, like carbon-14 dating is not very effective there. Very old in the sense, something which is 1 lakh years old, there carbon-14 will not be suitable, will not be useful. Okay, let's come back. So, what is the answer here? Answer is B. Third one is, initially when carbon-14 dating was started, the mass spectrometry was not something that we were using. We were using other mechanisms. There, some other methods were used. Jaise, I do not want to go into those complicated things, but they measured the electricity supply when the electric current was passed through it, because radioactivity will generate some ions. So more radioactive material would be there, more ions would be generated and more electricity would be there. Less radioactive material would be there, less ions would be generated and less electricity would be there. So those were the mechanisms we used initially. Mass spectrometry started getting used much later. Do you know, Harappan civilization ka initially we predicted the date of matured Harappa is between 3200 BC to 2600 BC. Right now we know the date of matured Harappa is between 1900 BC to 2400 2500 BC. This is what we say is the date of matured Harappa. But initially we used to think that the date of matured Harappa is from 3000 BC to 2500 BC, roughly that. Why? Because Mesopotamia had dated it itself accordingly. Mesopotamia had dated itself accordingly. But when carbon-14 came into play, Mesopotamia's date was also changed and our date was also changed. Carbon-14 is that significant, that useful, and here we use nuclear science and technology to determine various aspects. This was there in Samiksha. Yes, this was there in Samiksha. मैंने बनाया था, समीक्षा के लिए बनाया था, फिर यहाँ डाल दिया ना. It has come in the first test. Now it's of no use for me. So it's used in RTFQ. Samiksha में most of the questions were easy. So it was the last question, I guess. मैंने कहा एक difficult question बना के डालते हैं. This was the last question. तो मैंने कहा एक difficult question बना के डालते हैं. Okay. The purpose, देखो, we try to ensure Samiksha में we do not ask redundant, useless questions. And that is why last year this had happened that students last test mein, not in the first test of Samiksha, in the last test of Samiksha, if students were scoring around 80, 85, 90, 95, 100, 105, their marks in preliminary examination was also similar. We do not make questions that you score only 50. Those kind of questions do not help you in any way. Your question should be relevant and we try to make very relevant questions. In last Samiksha, on Thursday, Friday, Saturday, I was reviewing paper and I got at least 30 questions removed and new questions getting added. Just to ensure ki why are we asking this question? I was asking my team, are students going to learn anything from it? From this factual aspect? What is the chance of this getting asked in the examination? When there are so many fundamental areas which we can ask and help students revise the concepts, why are we asking these redundant, useless things? Just to make paper difficult? We don't want to make paper difficult. We want to ensure that you get the best possible experience. Last week to garmi wala experience bhi mil gaya. For those of you who attended, no, that experience would not be there, but in future that won't be there, but last week that happened. Okay. Let's go to question number 164. Radiocarbon dating is method by which age of an object is determined using radiocarbon. Fine. Carbon-14 is created when cosmic rays, energetic streams of charged particles coming from source in outer space slam into gases and produce neutron. Abhi, in Indian Express 2-3 months back, carbon-14 dating was discussed in a lot of details, and I have taken this from that this statement from that article. This is true. Dekho, how is carbon-14 produced? Pehle, let's understand. We said that in our atmosphere, carbon-14 and carbon-12 are constant. Most of the carbon is carbon-12. So most of the CO2 that plants absorb is carbon-12. CO2 with carbon having 6 protons and 6 neutrons. But some CO2 that plant is absorbing, has carbon-14 in it. Now, I'm saying, where is this carbon-14 coming from? In our atmosphere, where did the carbon-14 come from? So carbon-14 is made by this mechanism. Carbon-14 is created when cosmic rays, energetic streams of charged particles coming from sources in outer space, sun se ya fir baki jagahon se, cosmic rays which are coming, slam into gas and produce neutrons. These free neutrons will interact with nitrogen. These free neutrons will interact with nitrogen to form carbon-14. Right? So this is true. A is also true, statement 1 is also true, and 2 is also true. But 2 is not the explanation of 1. 2 is not the explanation. Right? So radiocarbon dating is method by which age of an object is determined using radiocarbon. Yes. Carbon-14 is produced by this mechanism. Yes. But this is not the reason by which we determine the date. The reason is half-life of radiocarbon is 5700 years, 5716 years, and that is very suitable for our historical understanding. and that is why we use radiocarbon dating, not because of this reason. This is the reason for how radiocarbons are formed, how carbon 14 is formed. Okay, so did we get the answer here? Answer is B. 166. Let's go to question number 166. 165. Acha. Half life of radioactive element is 5600 years. If we have 100 grams of X, how much time will it take for its material to become 25 grams? Right? In one half life, it will become half. So if 100 grams is 50 gram, it will take 5600 years. Now from 50 gram to 25 gram, it will take another half life, another 5600 years. 25 gram to become 12.5 gram, another half life, 5600 years. So half life means if you have X unit of material, in what time it will become X by 2. So for 100 gram to become 25 gram, you have to use two half life. First half life for 100 gram to become 50 gram, and second half life for 50 gram to become 25 gram. So one half life is equal to 50. यहाँ पे for X half life is 5600 years. So 5600 years plus 5600 years, 11,200 years. ln2 by lambda. हाँ, तो क्यों करेंगे? UPSC is not expecting you to do these technical things. हंसो मत, मैंने किया है ये सब, है ना? UPSC does not expect you to in GS paper, it does not want you to remember some formula, do some calculation. It does not want you to do that. हाँ ठीक है, but UPSC doesn't want you to do the calculations here, है ना? Okay, 166. Yes. 165 you mean? 164. Okay. No. It produces neutron only. It produces neutron. हाँ, उसका एक mechanism होगा. It will bombard it and then some internal changes would take place, but it produces neutron only. I'm sure about that. Give me a second. It produces neutron. The released neutron interact with nitrogen 14 isotope and produce carbon 14. So there are mechanisms for this to happen. देखो, please understand this. Uranium 238 when bombarded with neutron did not become uranium 239. It became uranium 239 for small time, but eventually with some more changes, it eventually became plutonium. Right? In the same way, carbon 14 when bombarded with the neutron will not, nitrogen 14 when bombarded with neutron will not remain nitrogen 15. Some other changes would also take place. Okay, let's come back. Question number 166. Question number 166. Why are online students not answering? Nalaik bachcho mere? Answer has started. 166. How close is India towards building a nuclear fusion reactor? B. Technology demonstration. देखो for fission. नहीं, nuclear fusion में. No. Fusion है. Sorry, I thought fast breeder. For fission, we are pressurized water reactor, pressurized heavy water reactor, boiling water reactor. We are already using it commercially. है ना? In fission, fast breeder reactor, we are in technology demonstration stage. But when it comes to fusion, we are in the technology development stage. We have some of our own tokamak and all those things. So we are still developing the technology, and developing maybe na ekdam preliminary stage pe. It's not like we are on the last stage of development. The fusion mein we are है तो it's better for other reasons also. It's better than even fission. Fission produces a lot of radioactive things, fusion does not. अभी आते हैं ना. Did we get the answer? 166. Answer is C. 167. Which of the following radioactive elements are prominently used for making nuclear weapons? C 1 and 3. हमने बोला था थोरियम से यूरेनियम 233 बनता है, but it cannot be easily used in nuclear weapon, right? Where nuclear weapons are primarily made up of uranium 235 and plutonium. Even the first one, Hiroshima and Nagasaki, uranium 235 and plutonium. That was one of the advantages of thorium. Thorium forming U233, it cannot be easily used in making nuclear weapons. So answer is C here. Answer is C. 168. Yes. नहीं, when we are studying uranium like this, the uranium which we are using, we'll assume that. Okay, let's come back. Nuclear science and tech can contribute in which of the following sectors? All, है ना? Health में we know radiation therapies वगैरह. Food security में nuclear agriculture is there. We have studied about nuclear agriculture. Food security में increasing the shelf life, irradiation therapy. Radiation therapy से we can increase the shelf life. Food security में identifying the quality of food crops. उसके लिए भी we had talked about various instruments which are being developed. Waste management में we spoke about how sludge can be treated with radiations to improve the quality. Energy security, तो nuclear energy is there, तो all. Okay. Vijay is asking, sir, how waste management? देखो, when municipal solid waste and sludge goes out of home, if we provide it with nuclear radiation, a lot of bacteria could be killed, and then its treatment can be much easier, its reuse could be much easier. So in waste treatment also it gets used. Answer is D. Okay, question कर सकते 169. देखो, ये इसको आप ट्रीट क्यों कर रहे हो कि रिसाइकल करोगे तभी तो. Why are we killing bacteria and everything? Because we want to recycle the water. Okay, 169. Which of the following is a limitation of pressurized heavy water reactor? What was the advantage of pressurized heavy water reactor? नेचुरल यूरेनियम यूज कर रहा है. तुम आने से पहले तुमने एक आधा पेग मार लिया है क्या? नहीं, तो शाम हो रही है सर, रात तक पढ़ाते हैं, बैठा नहीं जाएगा, ऐसा कुछ. नाम क्या है आपका? कौन से बैच में थे? MP 1, 2, 3, 1.0 में थे. मतलब you also had a lot of time to revise. Poor 3.0 people, their syllabus have just got over. ना 1.0 मार्च में बैच खत्म हो गया. हाँ, 3.0 people, poor people are still watching some videos. अब आप आए ही फरवरी मार्च में पढ़ने, अब पूरा सिलेबस कैसे कन्वर्ट? हाँ. ओके, तो where are we using natural uranium? Pressurized heavy water. Heavy water, better moderator, natural uranium can be used. Now understand this. When we were using enriched uranium, it had 5% uranium 235. 95% of it was waste. 95% of it is uranium 238 that was going as waste. But when we are using natural uranium, only 0.5% is uranium 235. Rest is what? So the disadvantage of pressurized heavy water reactor is it will produce way more waste. Okay, so it requires higher level of enrichment. No, it requires lower level of enrichment. It produces more radioactive waste. This is true. The turbine are damaged. Turbine is damaged in boiling water reactor. Turbine is damaged in boiling water reactor because the same water goes and hits the turbine blade. Same water vapor goes and hits the turbine blade. There is not a separate steam generator. It produces less energy per unit mined uranium. No, why would it produce less energy? है ना, uranium 235 जितना है वो तो all of that is getting used. So why would it be producing less energy? So B is the answer. Okay, let's go to question number 170. Consider the following statements about proton beam therapy. Proton beam therapy. 170. देखो when we provide radiation therapies, proton beam is a advanced, much better thing which is coming into play recently. So when this is there, कि proton beam therapy is the most commonly used radiation therapy, that is wrong. But it is advanced one, it is pretty more accurate and is being used. The proton beam therapy facilities are being created in different hospitals all over the world. So it has the potential to provide higher accuracy than the traditional therapies like X-ray therapy is true. Proton beam therapies can be very sharp, very narrow, and can only target those places which are radiations, also damage the nearby place more. Okay, so 1 is wrong, 2 is correct, B would be the answer. Okay. 171. Radiation therapies of agriculture products can result into C? No. A कितने लोग बोल रहे हैं? A. B? B. C? D? No one for D? Why not D? Answer is 1 and 4. B. Answer is B. देखो, disinfestation of insect, that is irradiation therapy. हम क्यों? Why would we go and irradiate our tomatoes and onions? Because their bacteria could be killed. Contamination of irradiated food items, no. It doesn't. It ends contamination. It reduces. Why would radiation lead to increase in contamination? And why would we go for irradiation if it's contaminating? Okay, irradiation of food is very safe. WHO has said that, FSSAIs have said that, we have studied it. It does not lead to, we have specifically mentioned this in class, it does not lead to any contamination or radiation. Like, ऐसा नहीं होगा हमारा food will become radioactive. Okay, so 2 is wrong. Quickening of ripening, no. It slows down ripening, it increases shelf life. It slows down ripening and it slows down sprouting. The onion sprouts up, it reduces the quality of onion, that is slowed down. So answer is 1 and 4, B. Jaldi answer nahi karna hai. Take your time and answer it right. You could have all done it. Question is, radiation therapies of agricultural products can result into which of the following? Why will we do radiation for agricultural product? Because वो contamination कर रहा है और because वो उसे पका जल्दी दे रहा है? No. Okay. Let's go to question number 172. Consider the following statements about gamma irradiation therapy. Come on. B. Therapy can be used to increase shelf life of food items. अगर इसका पकना धीरे, if it is slowing down its sprouting, if it is slowing down its ripening, shelf life is going up. If it is removing bacteria, shelf life is going up. Currently, India does not have gamma radiation therapy centers. Wrong. India is having it since 2015-16. पहले Russia had helped us to set up a number of radiation centers. जैसे नासिक में it was set up to give this radiation to onions and all, and now we have several of these radiation therapies. In fact, under Atmanirbhar Bharat, government is participating with private sector to set up these radiation centers in PPP mode. So 1 and 3 are correct, B would be the answer. Okay, 2 is wrong. Currently India does not have any gamma radiation therapy center, that is wrong. Okay, we have had it since 2016. This question I made from Economic Survey of India. I think last to last year's Economic Survey of India had talked about a PPP model. Maybe we are developing it. So from that perspective, I had made this question. Sorry, बहुत सारी जगह पे, जैसे मैं पहला वाला नासिक में है बताया ना, अनियन के लिए जो 2016 में when it was introduced, I was I had just 2015 I had come to Delhi and I was very seriously preparing. I still remember making notes for this ki Russia is helping India to set up irradiation centers. Okay, got it? 1 and 3. 173. All three, right? Developing high yielding variety of nuclear agriculture mein we make mutations happen. Those mutations lead to development of higher yielding varieties. Bhabha Atomic Research Center has supplied more than 40 crops for commercial use in this manner. These are not genetically modified crops. These are crops which are part of nuclear agriculture. Ashish is asking how is Level Up IAS Coaching Institute for GS Foundation course. आशीष मैं तो अच्छा ही बताऊंगा, बाकी बच्चे बता दो यार जैसा भी बताना है. हाँ, it is the best. I'm not, चलो, I'm not joking. I'm seriously telling you, our GS Foundation program is the best. है ना? You give me a reason why it is not the best, I'll counter it. It is in every way the best GS Foundation program there. There is, I can vouch for the quality of teaching, I can vouch for the quality of test, I can vouch, because every weekend the test goes, I myself review it. Each and every test, either it was Samiksha or for GS Foundation, both prelims and mains, I myself review the test. So last year in our GS Foundation program, from April till February, we conducted more than 40 objective and subjective tests. Both 40 objective and 40 subjective tests. Every week you have 2 tests, one objective, one subjective. Students were able to make 4 or 5 revisions at least. We ensured, we had a lot of demand in August for a new batch. We did not launch a new batch in August because we knew if we launch a new batch in August, we will not be able to complete syllabus. It would be cheating for students, cheating from our side. We recommended students, if you really want to join batch, join the June batch, watch 2 months thing in the video form. Because if we start a batch in August, we will not be able to finish it. We have teachers like, if you have to compare teachers, why I am saying ki we have the best GS Foundation batch. Nikhil Sir and Vishal Sir are teaching history. Let's start with history. Go and watch, anyone go and watch any video of Nikhil Sir and compare it with any history teacher's video anywhere. Why am I saying we are the best? I am giving you a reason for it. I will be teaching you science, environment, economy. Look at my coverage. I will not say I am the best teacher, but look at the coverage that I make, the efforts I make, and compare it with any other teacher anywhere. I may not be the best teacher in these fields, but I put in a lot of effort. You get current affairs. So in this program, once you join a GS Foundation program, unlike any other institution, you do not ever have to join any other program in Level Up IAS. If you are part of GS Foundation program, you are part of CSAT program, you are part of essay program, you are part of prelims test series, you are part of mains test series, you are part of interview mentorship program, you are part of current affairs program. You do not have to join any program. आपकी पूरी preparation की जिम्मेदारी हमारी है. Plus, we are among the good quality ones. There are very cheap, bekar institutions also. Among the good quality ones, we are the best. Plus, we are also the most affordable. We are also the most affordable among the good quality institutions, and that is why मैं मजाक में बोल रहा, ऐसे मैंने मजाक के टोन में बोला कि we are the best, but we are the best. I strongly believe in that. When it comes to optionals like anthropology, sociology, history, philosophy, I can very strongly say that we have the best teachers. आप पढ़िए. You have, like, for GS Foundation, you just come and attend classes, any number of classes you want. 1 week, 2 weeks, you attend classes and then take a call. Your polity would be taken by Babu Sir. Babu Sir is someone who in 2010 he was All India rank 47 in CAPF exam. In 2013 he was All India rank 600 something in UPSC Civil Services examination. In 2016 he was All India rank 200 something in UPSC Civil Services examination. He has not joined anything, and since last 8 years he has been teaching. He is amazing. अब आप जानते हो, पता है मुझे. तो बाबू सर will be taking your polity, your governance, your social justice, and wait, ethics में जो governance वाला part है, that will be taken by Babu sir. Your philosophy would be taken by Vishwa sir, Vishwajit sir, and he is also the head of the interview program. Vishwajit sir is also a selected person. he has been he has resigned from his service. He was selected in 2013. He joined Indian Audits and Account Service. He was one of the highest interview scorers. That's why he's also leading the interview program. Right? आपको सोसाइटी वगैरह के टॉपिक्स निशाद सर, करण सर पढ़ाने आएंगे. You will, when you will go through their classes, you will understand how good they are. And the reason most of the students don't know about us is we do not have bandwidth for unnecessary advertisements. We cannot give, हमने वो जबरदस्ती की फंडिंग नहीं ले रखी है कि फुल पेज एड्स जा रहे हैं. You will not see our ads. न्यूज़पेपर में we cannot afford ads in newspaper. We try to go for pamphlet distribution. We try to put in as much video as possible on YouTube. But again, what happens is YouTube पे भी pay करके you can increase the views of your videos like anything. In spite of doing everything, our views are much lesser. But quality पे no one would raise question. We are running this RTFQ series of 3000 questions. No one else would have guts of doing it. 3000 questions का commitment देना ना is a huge thing. You will have in GS Foundation program from June till August 2025. You will have current affairs classes every Saturday, Sunday. I'll be taking those consistently, properly. Every aspect of your preparation would get taken care of. तो हम मजाक में बोल रहे थे, but अगर मुझे लगता ना कि कोई और इंस्टीट्यूशन बेटर है, I would have recommended you to go there. If you will speak to some of my students, उनको कई कोर्सेज के लिए मैंने मना किया था एडमिशन लेने को. When I got bad reviews about some courses, मैंने अपने इंस्टीट्यूशन में एडमिशन लेने को मना किया है बच्चों को कई कोर्सेज. Then we close those courses. नहीं मैम ये नहीं चलेगा, सर ये नहीं चलेगा. We are winding up this course because if there is someone better than you, I will send my students there because students come to me with a lot of trust कि Santosh Sir will guide us in the right direction. Why would I ask them to study here if something is not good here? Okay, so our GS Foundation program, you go and watch videos of every teacher and then take a call. We depend a lot on students' word of mouth. We do not have that kind of bandwidth for advertisement, and I'll say we are the best for another very strong reason. We are perhaps the only institution in ORN who do not claim results just on the basis of interviews or these mocks. Open mocks that we conduct, आपने समीक्षा में participate किया है and because of that, let's say you get selected. We'll never say you are our student. Or just because you were part of our interview program and you get selected, we never say that. Only when if you are part of our foundation program or our mains program, we claim that this student belong to Level Up IAS, else we don't do that. It's a very difficult thing to do. Everyone says no, you are losing on a lot of marketing because of this. You could have taken interview of every student and then could have claimed that you have 300 results and more students would be attracted by it. And I say this is done by every institution. Now students would also understand that they are all faking it. There's one more strategy which various institutions do nowadays. Anyone who has appeared in interview or anyone who has cleared the exam and is appearing again, they give all their courses to them free of cost. Now what happens is, even if the student, like they'll say that all these courses, we are enrolling you in all these courses, it's free for you. Student will not say no. He will be enrolled in 10 different institutions. He will not be attending the classes in 9 of them. But other 9 of them will also say he was part of our main special batch. Whereas the student would say that I did not watch a single video, but they gave me free access. This is a very common thing. Now they have started using these strategy. After last year's, I think Consumer Court had fined a number of institutions. This is what they have started doing. We never do that. This will tell you about our honesty. We'll be very honest, we'll be very straightforward, we'll give you the best services, we will not cheat you. If we start, like, if at the time of admission only we are cheating you, telling you, dekho, the rank 1 is from our institution, rank 2 is from our institution, rank 3 is from our institution, not telling, he just came for interviews and he was not even coming for interview, we kept on calling him, please come for interview. So it's cheating on the very first day, and then we'll be cheating you while providing services also. We don't do that. We are in 2021, we started in 2020, in 2021 when we published results, we did that. हमने interview वाले बच्चों के भी नाम छाप दिए थे, but I was not taking care of the admin then. From 2022, I am taking care of the admin and we have made it a strict rule. that no interview student, only interview student, like our student who have studied with us and given interview, वो तो होगा ही, but no student who has just given interview with us or just given samiksha with us, or pre-samiksha or main samiksha with us. You will see a lot of advertisement where name of open test series would be written. उसमें हमारा कोई contribution नहीं है. We run samiksha so that our students get rank among 1000, 2000 students. We run samiksha so that you would get to know कि we are a good institution. That's it. We do not run samiksha to fool people कि हमारे पास इतने बच्चों ने रजिस्टर किया और फिर उनका सिलेक्शन हो जाएगा और हम बोलेंगे कि देखो हमारे बच्चे सिलेक्ट हो गए. In samiksha, if you are doing well, it's not our efforts, it's your efforts or efforts of the institutions where you studied. Right? So we will never do that. That is why we are the best. है ना? तो हंस लेते हैं, but I strongly believe in it. That's why I'm saying it. So do recommend us, like because we'll not be able to publish this if we have 500 selections. Nor will you see in Hindu or Indian Express, which is reaching all over the country, our advertisements. But still, students would come to us. We'll have more number of students in GS Foundation this year, just because of how we performed last year. And we'll have, I'm 100% sure, not 99.99%. I'm 100% sure even next year we will reach the number of students that we have this year, because we will continue providing the best possible services. Okay. Okay, now, sir, what about medium of foundation? There is this issue some students have raised, कि you're teaching in English medium, but sometimes you tend to use Hindi. See, for most of our teachers, our mother tongue is Hindi, and we tend to divert sometimes. Like even while in this class, I sometimes end up using Hindi. At that time, if we are reminded, sir, please do not use it, we don't use it. See, my mother tongue is Hindi, so whenever, like, I'll have this tendency to get diverted towards it, but you just give this expression. So sometimes there is this complaint, this genuine complaint against us, that sometimes in our classroom we start speaking Hindi. This I agree, and we just have to be reminded. If you are sitting in the classroom, just raise your hand and say, sir, please do not use Hindi, and will not use Hindi. I'm very comfortable in English. Very comfortable, and all our teachers are very comfortable in English. There is no such problem of not using English. Okay. Now Vijay Partharthi is asking, sir, since we are talking about admin related stuff, why do all institute conduct mock test on same Sunday? Students cannot attend all tests. Why? We have a small center. We have to take classes from Monday to Saturday, and it leaves us only Sunday for leaving this place for test. That is why we do it. That is why we do it. But this last Sunday we got tremendous response, and we were not able to take care of students. A lot of students had to go back. So this year, this week we have a test slot on Monday also. So please register for Monday if you have an issue there. Okay, if you cannot come on Sunday, please register for Monday. Kashid Reyaz, sir, I am not. Dekho, please understand, when a teacher was teaching in some other institution, there were restrictions. You have to teach history for in 5 days or 6 days, right? Here we do not have that restriction. So when Nikhil Sir taught at some other place, he had this restriction. You have to teach history in 6 days. When Nikhil Sir became part of Level Up, he said, sir, I need 30 classes for ancient medieval culture. I need 60, 70, 80 hours for ancient medieval culture. We have given him that, and he has taught his ancient medieval culture in the best possible manner. So just do not worry about what happened in other institutions, because if a teacher is given 6 hours to complete something for which he needs 60 hours, he'll be going superficially. Say, for example, I take science and technology and I take around 40-50 hours of classes. If I'm asked, teach it in 5 hours, I'll tell them in 5 hours I'll not even be able to discuss 200 questions. I have committed 500 questions. In 5 hours I'll not even be able to discuss 500 questions. Forget about teaching. So that was an issue earlier. Okay, so what was the name of the student? Kashid, this may have been the issue when you were studying with Sir at the other institution, because the time constraint was a major issue there. I assure you that Nikhil Sir is the best teacher of history, period. Matlab, just go and watch his videos, watch any of his videos on YouTube. Here we have given him as much time as he needs. नहीं, उसपे भी curtail किया है. He wanted more time. वो भी curtail किया है, तो he's covering history in the best possible manner. Okay, let's come back. So nuclear science and technology can be used in which field? Developing high yielding variety of agricultural crops. Nuclear agriculture, we spoke about it. Increasing shelf life, yes. Categorization of agricultural crop in different grades based on quality. This we had covered in class. We have developed various devices by which we can identify details of the crop. Just say, for example, if we get peanuts, we cannot know what is the quality of seeds in peanuts. What is the quality of nuts, because it is covered. But using devices, using radiations, we can understand what is going on inside. Just say X-rays can tell you what has happened to your bones inside, skeleton inside. In the same way, some devices have been developed which can tell you the quality of groundnut and those kind of crops, and that is why even third is correct. So 1, 2, 3, all three of them are correct. Okay. Question number 174. Consider the following statements about International Crop Research Institution for Semi-Arid Tropics. Crop Research Institute for the Semi-Arid Tropics. Achha, I think I should have removed this question. This was from the current affairs 2 years back, and this need not have been covered here. I don't know, by mistake I may have brought it. Anyways, consider the following statements about International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics. It is an organization under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. So यहाँ पे it does not come under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. So one is incorrect. है ना? It focuses on agriculture research. हाँ, तो in the name only it is focused on International Crop Research Institute for Semi-Arid Tropics. So semi-arid region में crops, seeds and all those things it will be working on. 2 is correct. 1 is wrong. 2 is correct. This International Crop Research Institute is an international organization, not under Government of India. It was founded in 1972 by a consortium of organization convened by Ford and Rockefeller Foundation. It was set up in 1972 with the help of Ford and Rockefeller Foundation. Its charter was signed by FAO and UNDP. So it's a UN organization and not a Government of India organization, and that's why it doesn't come under Ministry of Agriculture and Farmer Welfare. But 2 is correct. Okay, but 2-year-old current affairs, we have not covered it in class, but through questions briefly you just saw it. Let's go to question number 175. Which of the following is true about X-ray radiography? Tell me. In X-ray radiography, the incoming energy is captured by a piece of plastic that is sensitive to light, better known as film. नहीं, ये तो this is how photographs were taken earlier, right? This is not how X-ray radiography functions. A is wrong. In X-ray radiography uses small amount of ionizing radiation, yes, to produce pictures of body's internal structure. This is a very general statement. This is true. Let's come to C. X-ray radiography consists of physiological recorder that assesses 3 indicators of automatic arousal: heart rate, blood pressure, respiration. This is done by polygraph. Another medical test is there, polygraph. It is done by that. It is not X-ray. So B is explaining what X-ray is. B is the answer. Okay, so we are done with nuclear science and technology. Now we will go to biotechnology. Question number 177. Question number 177. Question number 177. Which of the following 176 should have been there, no? 176 is missing. Okay, no problem. my error. We are first starting with PYQs. We'll quickly finish PYQs, then we'll go to other set of questions. We are starting with PY, so we are doing PYQ from 1995 to 2023. Which of the following professionals are more likely to run the risk of permanent changes in cells' DNA? Biotechnology. Let me go to biotech. Biotechnology. Yeah. Question number 177. देखो, someone who is researching carbon 14 isotope. So carbon 14 is radioactive, and if you are doing research there, you may be exposed there. X-ray technician may be exposed. Okay. Dyer and painter. So some paints and dyes, they used to have chemicals known as mutagen. M-U-T-A-G-E-N. They used to have chemicals known as mutagens. And these mutagens could have caused mutation depending on the concentration of these chemicals. So 1, 2 and 4 are for sure. Coal miner specifically, देखो, any mining may expose you to some radioactive material, but coal mining specifically, if they are saying coal mining, so there is no chance of getting exposed to radiation. So वैसे if it was just mining, I would have marked it 1, 2, 3 and 4, but it's specifically coal mining. I'm marking it 1, 2 and I'm marking it 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4 is C. Okay, but again, at that time UPSC did not give answer keys. UPSC started giving answer key only in 2015. उस पे भी भरोसा करने लायक है नहीं. But UPSC started giving answer keys only in 2015. So what is they interpreting? कि while mining coal, in the earth crust, there may be some radioactive material. So it will depend on what kind of interpretation they were trying to make. So I would have marked it 1, 2 and 4, but you could have also gone for 1, 2, 3 and 4. While coal mining, you may be exposed to some kind of radiation. You're saying something, Vivek? कोल माइनिंग में क्या यूज नहीं करते थे? नहीं, कोल माइनिंग में यूज नहीं करते थे, बट व्हेन यू आर माइनिंग कोल in earth crust where there are various radioactive material, at that time you may get exposed. That's the point. So 1, 2 and 4 is the answer for now. Which of the following techniques can be used to establish the paternity of a child? DNA fingerprinting, we have studied it in details. DNA fingerprinting is used to identify the individual, it is used to identify the parents. 179. Insect resistant transgenic cotton has been produced by inserting BT gene. BT cotton mein this has been done. BT gene is derived from bacterium. Yes, but this is not the correct reason. Correct reason is this gene, Tri1AC gene, will produce the toxin that will kill the insect. So what is the answer? B. Both A and R are true, and R is not the correct explanation of A. Question number 180. Question number 180. Dolly was the first clone mammal. Dolly was produced by in vitro fertilization. Now, this question, is a bit, what should I say, controversial. Controversial in the sense, I think some standard book mentions that Dolly was the first, Dolly was the first cloned mammal. Some standard book mentions, but that's not true. Dolly ka cloning has happened in 1996, whereas rats are also mammals. And cloning of rats was done in Soviet Union in 1980s only. So most of the sources have mentioned A to be correct, but it is not. Most of the sources, most of the PYQs ka books have mentioned A to be correct, but it is not correct. In 1986, the first mouse was cloned in the Soviet Union from an embryo cell. Ye likh lijiye. Write down this line. Why one is incorrect? In 1986, the first mouse was cloned in the Soviet Union from an embryo cell. From an embryo cell. Okay, got it? So Dolly was the first cloned mammal. That is wrong here. Dolly was produced by in vitro. That is, R is correct, but because A is wrong, we are left with only one answer. A is false and R is true. D. Let's come to question number 181. Question number 181. DNA fingerprinting has become a powerful tool to establish paternity and identity of criminals in rape and assault cases. Fingerprint से DNA fingerprint is used to identify individuals. It can be done. ठीक है. Trace evidence such as hair, saliva, and dried semen are adequate for DNA analysis. Correct. Trace, but this is the reason for why DNA analysis can be used for. But why do we use DNA fingerprinting for identifying individuals? We use DNA fingerprinting because DNA fingerprinting mechanism can uniquely differentiate between two individuals. Right? That is the reason. While R is correct here, but is R the correct explanation? R is not the correct explanation. Okay, so answer here should be B. Answer here should be B. This was asked in Prelims 2000. Let's come to 182. Insect resistant cotton plant have been genetically engineered by inserting a gene from bacteria, Bacillus thuringiensis. BT is Bacillus thuringiensis. Okay. 183. The American multinational company Monsanto has produced an insect resistant cotton variety that is undergoing field trials in India. A toxic gene from which one of the following bacteria has been transferred to this transgenic cotton. I think they have repeated the question. An American multinational Monsanto has produced an insect resistant cotton variety that is undergoing field trials in India. A toxic gene from which one of the Bacillus thuringiensis BT. So, देखो repetition, why PYQs are most important. Okay. 184. With reference to latest development in stem cell research, consider the following statements. The only source of human stem cells are embryos at blastocyst stage. No, human stem cells can be got much later. Even now my body has stem cells. So one is wrong. The stem cells can be derived without causing destruction to blastocyst. Embryonic stem cells cannot be derived. Embryonic stem cells, if you take out some stem cells, you are affecting blastocyst, right? So 2 is wrong. The stem cells can regenerate themselves in vitro virtually forever. Yes, correct. Indian research centers also created a few cell lines which can be developed into many types of tissues. ठीक है, करा होगा. 3 and 4 should be answer C. Okay. Let's come to question number 185. Genetically modified golden rice has been engineered to meet human nutritional requirement. Which of the following statements best qualifies golden rice? D. B for Bombay. Vitamin A. Beta carotene. Golden rice has been genetically modified to do what? To add beta carotene. And beta carotene does what? Beta carotene is a provitamin. Like vitamin A से पहले beta carotene बनता है. Beta carotene converts into vitamin A. So golden rice has more of beta carotene and thus it will have more of vitamin A. It has been developed by International Rice Research Institute. We have done it in class in detail. That's why I am not going into details here. Question number 186. 186. At present, scientists can determine the arrangement or relative position of genes or DNA sequences on a chromosome. Fine. How does this knowledge benefit us? If we are able to determine the gene sequence on a chromosome, if we are able to determine gene sequence, we also know this gene is responsible for this protein, right? So what can happen? It's possible to know pedigree of livestock. Yes, different livestocks of different pedigree will have slightly different genes. If we are able to sequence genes, we'll be able to know this livestock is of this pedigree, this livestock is of this pedigree. Okay, it's possible to understand the causes of all human diseases. All is an extreme word. Like I may get injured, he may also get injured, and then we may get some disease because of this injury. Some bacteria may affect us. So this is not because of genetic things. This is because of, so some diseases are not because of the genes. Some diseases are because of some mosquito has bitten us or other factors, and reasons for all human diseases cannot be determined by this. It's possible to develop disease-resistant animal breeds. Yes. Some animal, like we understand this. They say, for example, think of COVID. Think of COVID. Coronavirus has a spike protein on the surface and it enters your cell through a receptor called ACE2 receptor. It enters your cell with the help of ACE2 receptor. Now, if human being was genetically modified so that it will not produce this ACE2 receptor, will we become immune to corona? Yes. In the same way, we can make animals immune to various diseases by making genetic modification happen. Are we getting this? Okay. So what is the answer here? 1 and 3. C. 186. Answer is C. Let's go to 187. A genetically engineered form of brinjal known as BT brinjal has been developed. The objective of this is, BT है तो Bacillus thuringiensis से gene, same gene cry1AC. The gene that we have added in cotton, the same gene gets added in brinjal also. Cotton was affected by some insects. Brinjal is also getting affected by the same type of insects. It is against that. So to make it pest resistant, BT brinjal was developed for making it pest resistant. 188. With reference to stem cells frequently in the news, which of the following statement is correct? Stem cells can be derived from mammals only. Incorrect, right? Why only mammals? Stem cells can be found in other animals, other non-mammalians also. Stem cells can be used for screening new drugs. It can be true, right? Stem cells can be used for medical therapies. Stem cell therapy is pretty common. Government of India has put on some restrictions because a lot of people without any qualifications were using stem cell therapies, but stem cell therapies are common. Jैसे for example, if we get bald, जैसे मान लो मैं गंजा हो जाऊं, कल हो गया हूं आधा, पूरा हो जाऊं, तो doctors can give stem cell therapy. What stem cell therapy would ensure? See, my entire body has made up of stem cells. My entire body came from some stem cells. So when my hair follicles die, if doctors inject some or by stem cell therapy, some stem cells associated with those hair follicles are inserted, my head may regrow those hair follicles. I say, let's say I get some burn injury. With the help of stem cells, new skin can be generated. In future, as more advancement takes place in stem cells, please understand, initially we were all single egg, fertilized egg. We all, our life started as a single cell. Our life started as a single cell. Those cells multiplied eventually into some stem cells. It is those stem cells from which all of us have been formed. Initially, we were a single egg cell. We were not heart cell or lung cell or a muscle cell or a neuron. All these special types of cells have developed later from some stem cells. So, with the help of those stem cells, in future we may also be able to generate heart, generate lungs. So, in future, what may happen? The organ transplant and these issues, shortage of organs for organ transplant would go away, because with the help of stem cells, we will be able to grow new organs. Are we getting? So, something that happened in the womb of the mother, we can make it happen outside with the help of stem cells. So, coming back to stem cells can be derived from mammals only is wrong. Stem cells can be used for screening new drugs is correct, and stem cells can be used for medical therapies. This we have understood. Now, how stem cells are being used to screen new drugs? Dekho, when you are able to generate, let's say, organs, when you are able to generate a part of the skin, can you test new medicines on them? How will it impact something? Yes. So, it can be done for that. So, 2 and 3, B would be the answer. 188 mein B would be the answer. Let's come to 189. What are the reasons for people's resistance to introduction of BT brinjal in India? Why BT brinjal is being opposed? अरे पहले सबको पढ़ने दो ना. Let everyone read it and then, अभी मैंने ही read नहीं किया था, आप आंसर बताने लग गए. हाँ, did we all read it? देखो, one BT brinjal has been created by inserting a gene from soil fungus. That is wrong. Soil bacterium. Bacillus thuringiensis, Bacillus नाम में ही बैक्टीरिया लिखा हुआ है ना? One is wrong for that reason. BT brinjal has been created from by taking a gene from Bacillus thuringiensis, which is a bacteria, not fungus. 2. The seed of BT brinjal are terminator seeds, and therefore the farmers have to buy the seeds before every season for the seed companies. That is true, but this is not the reason for opposition. Cotton seeds are also terminator seeds. In fact, when a biotech company will make some seed, it will make a terminator seed only, so that every year you are purchasing those seeds. Right? But this was not the key ground for opposition, because we already allow BT cotton. Right? Ground for opposition were these. There is an apprehension that the consumption of BT brinjal may have adverse impact on health, and there is some concern that the introduction of BT brinjal may have adverse effect on biodiversity. These were some concerns because of which it was being opposed. So 3 and 4 would be the answer here, 189. Let's come to 190. नहीं करते, नहीं तब भी नहीं करते. देखो टर्मिनेट जो नो इट्स नॉट सब्जेक्टिव, प्लीज अंडरस्टैंड दिस. जो टर्मिनेटर जीन नॉन टर्मिनेटर जीन वाला ऑपोजिशन वाला आर्ग्यूमेंट है ना, दैट इज अ कैपिटलिस्ट सोशलिस्ट आर्ग्यूमेंट. So we already have Monsanto producing us seeds of cotton, and those cotton seeds are not being opposed in spite of being terminator seeds. So biotechnology company will always try to come with terminator seeds only. So this was not the primary reason for opposition. Some left inclined anti-corporate, anti-capitalist groups may oppose it on this ground, but this was not the reason for opposition here. Okay. Other than resistance to pest, what are the prospects for which genetically engineered plants have been created? So pest resistance is something that we see in case of BT cotton and BT brinjal. What are the other prospects for which genetically modified crops have been created to enable them to withstand drought? Have we done this? Yes, we have done it. We are developing. We saw ICRISAT mein a lot of products may be getting developed there to increase the nutritive value of produce. We just saw golden rice. Okay. To enable them to grow and do photosynthesis in spaceship and space stations. We haven't seen this happening yet. Right? आप मुझ पे हंस रहे हो, उस पे हंस रहे हो, उस पे हंस रहे हो ना, फिर ठीक है. पता नहीं चल रहा. अरे मैं सवाल पूछ रहा हूं, उससे पहले आप आंसर कर दे रहे हो, तो कोई कुछ सोच नहीं पा रहा ना. ऐसे नहीं करते हैं, है ना? ऐसे कर लीजिए, मतलब कोई दिक्कत नहीं है. To enable them to, देखो, you'll have to work a lot on your personality as well while you are preparing for this exam, and you have a good personality. I'm not saying it's bad, but you have to listen carefully before answering anything. UPSC इंटरव्यू में जाओगे, वो कुछ बोल रहे हैं, उससे पहले हाँ सर, क्यों सर, दिक्कत हो जाएगा. क्या बोला जाता है? ध्यान से सुनो, 1-2 सेकेंड एक्स्ट्रा लो, फिर आंसर करो. राइट? तो थोड़ा इस पे, क्योंकि हम वी आर प्रिपेयरिंग फॉर दिस काइंड ऑफ एग्जाम, तो वेर यू हैव टू लिसन टू अ लॉट ऑफ थिंग्स, समटाइम्स रॉन्ग, समटाइम्स राइट. तो थोड़ा सा उस पे ध्यान देते हैं. लेट्स कम बैक. टू इनेबल देम टू ग्रो एंड डू फोटोसिंथेसिस इन स्पेसशिप, दिस वी हैवंट बीन एबल टू डू येट. एंड टू इंक्रीज द शेल्फ लाइफ, यस, शेल्फ लाइफ इंक्रीज के लिए वी हैव डन दिस. तो 1, 2 and 4, 1, 2 and 4 is correct. C should be correct. 191. Recombinant DNA technology allows genes to be transferred. We have studied that genes can be transferred from any species to any species, except some RNA viruses where genetic material is what? RNA. Genes in all living organisms are in the form of ATCG pairs. Genes in all living organisms are in the form of ATCG pairs, and because this ATCG pair is the thing everywhere, what we can mix and match. We can take something from here, add here. We can take something from here, add here. We can do these kind of things. So from bacteria to plant, yes. From animal to smaller living organism, yes. From smaller living organisms to mammals, yes. अब सोचो, BC, Bacillus thuringiensis, BT, Bacillus thuringiensis is a bacteria in a different kingdom. From there we have added gene in plant. From Monera kingdom we have added gene in Animal kingdom. So we can add gene from anywhere to anywhere. So across different species, yes. From animals to plants, yes. From microorganisms to higher organisms, yes. All three are yes. D. 191D. 192. The Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee is constituted under Environmental Protection Act 1986. अरे ठीक है, Environmental Protection Act 1986 allows government, empowers government to create various authorities for the protection of environment. Under this, various, let's just say, I think Central Groundwater Authority, these kind of bodies have also been created. And in UPSC preliminary examination 2 years back or 3 years back, they had asked this question, which of the following bodies have been set up under Environment Protection Act, something like this they had asked. So this body also, Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee, does that. This body is under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. It is responsible for giving biosafety approval. When a new genetically modified crops go, this is the expert body which will say whether it will be safe for biodiversity or not, whether it will be safe for health or not. It will give its approval, then the matter will go to ministry. Final decision will be of ministry, not of the GEAC. Final decision will be of the ministry. Okay, so what is the answer here? Environment Protection Act, C. 192 ka answer would be C. You have some doubt? 1986 hona chahiye, right. It should be 1986. It should be 1986. 193. Transcriptome क्या होता है? Transcriptome, what is transcriptome? Have we studied this in class? What is it? All the genes which are getting expressed form transcriptome. देखो, in human body, in my human body, there are 20,000 to 25,000 genes. Let's say I have 20,000 genes, but not all those genes are getting expressed. Only those genes are getting expressed whose mRNA is getting formed. Gene gets expressed when ribosome make protein for that gene. Gene is encoding for a protein, ribosome is factory of protein. But who takes the information from this gene to ribosome to make this protein? mRNA. So if mRNA is not there, this gene will not get expressed. Right. So what is transcriptome? Transcriptome is basically telling you all the genes which are getting expressed. So if I ask you what is transcriptome for this particular cell, so in this cell all the mRNAs which are there, it will tell you which are all the genes which are getting expressed. For example, think of my hair follicles. They are producing this protein by which my hairs are being formed. Now in my heart cell is there. It also have in all our body, in our entire body, the gene is same everywhere. So even in my heart cell, same gene is there. But there are these proteins getting expressed. नहीं तो मेरे दिल पे भी बाल होते हैं. Right? In my lungs, are these proteins getting formed? No, in my lung cells these proteins are not getting formed because some genes are not getting expressed there. So you can ask what is transcriptome of a cell? Transcriptome of a cell is all the genes which are being expressed there. What is transcriptome of a group of cells? The पूरे heart में transcriptome क्या है? तो all the genes which are getting expressed there. Transcriptome of the entire body, you can talk about that. So transcriptome refers to the full range of mRNA molecules expressed by an organism. Because mRNA will tell you which are the genes which are getting expressed. Did we get it? Did we understand it? Okay. 193 answer is B. Let's go to 194. What is the application of somatic cell CJ nuclear transfer technology? Did we cover this in class? Somatic cell nuclear transfer we studied. So what is it used for? What do we do in somatic cell nuclear transfer? We take a egg cell. Here we have a nucleus of egg cell. Then we take an adult cell. Let's say this blue one is my cell. Now, if you take its nucleus and put it here, remove this nucleus and add this nucleus here. This is egg cell. It is supposed to multiply and create many copies. which gene will have many copies now? My gene, because this blue nucleus will get many copies. So by somatic cell is adult cell. Somatic cell का nuclear transfer करके what have you done? You have created many copies of this. Eventually you can even create clones. If you want to create a clone, मेरा clone बनाना है. So where have this organization come from? Initially I was a single egg cell. है ना? It had some genes from my mother, some genes from my father. It had a nucleus. In the nucleus all the information was there, and that nucleus is present in billions of cells today in my entire body. So if you want to create an exact duplicate of me, you'll have to have exactly the same genes. My child will not have exactly the same genes, because my child would have some genes from my wife and some genes from me. My brother will not have the same genes, because in case of my brother, some other sperm would have fertilized egg cell, so that egg cell may have slightly different genes, the sperm cell may have, the combination that would have been made would be slightly different. Right? If you want to create exact clone of me, somatic cell nuclear transfer, take my genes, put it in the egg cell. Now when this egg cell is multiplying, what is happening? A lot of copy of my genes are getting created, and you can use it for reproductive cloning of animals. Somatic cell nuclear transfer can be used for that. 195. So CRISPR-Cas9 is used for biotechnology. 3 is wrong. 3 is wrong. If 3 is wrong, what happens? We have 3 everywhere else except B. That is why, though this question is not specifically about biotechnology, but CRISPR is something that we study in biotechnology, and that's why we know this is wrong. Blockchain technology, digital cryptocurrency, this is correct, we know it. We in computer and IT we have studied. What is Belle experiment? Jaise we have this large hadron collider in C at CERN. In the same way, in Japan, a similar experiment is going on, which is called Belle experiment. So Belle experiment is about particle physics. Belle 2 experiment is about particle physics. It was in news in 2017 and 18, and that's why in 2018 they asked this thing. But even if you did not know it, you could have still done the answer, because you for sure knew that CRISPR-Cas9 is the tool here. Are we clear about this? Okay. With reference to GM mustard developed in India, consider the following statements. GM mustard has genes of soil bacterium that give the plant the property of pest resistance. No. GM mustard ensured what? Cross breeding. It ensured cross hybridization. Mustard is self-pollinating. We wanted it to not self-pollinate itself. We wanted it to cross with the European variety. We had an Indian variety of mustard. It used to do self-pollination. We wanted it to do cross-pollination with a European variety. So what we did, we first added a gene here which will make it male sterile, so that it does not produce pollens and it is not pollinating itself, and then we created a cross. So DMH11, Dhara mustard hybrid, it's a hybrid crop, but it's also genetically modified. We modified it genetically so that this hybridization will be happening. This hybridization could take place. Okay, so 1 is wrong. GM mustard has the genes that allow plant for cross pollination. Yes. GM mustard has been developed jointly by it has been developed by Delhi University, Center for Genetic Manipulation of Plant Crops. कुछ ऐसा एक body है, नहीं crop plants. Center for CGMPC, कुछ ऐसा body है. It was done there. तो Delhi University में, not in Punjab University and all. So it is wrong for that reason. 2 only is correct. हमने क्लास में पढ़ा है डिटेल में. Is everyone comfortable there? Let's go to 197. What is Cas9 protein that is often mentioned in news? A molecular scissor used in targeted gene editing. So CRISPR-Cas9 में we have one guide RNA which goes and attaches to the place where the cut has to be made, and one Cas9. Cas9 is the scissor, molecular scissor, which will go and make the cut. Right? So 197 answer is A. 198. With reference to recent development in science, which one of the following statement is not correct? So here, देखो answer A है, but let's come to how answer is A. Here we'll try to eliminate. First, let's look at D. Cells taken out from plants and animals can be made to undergo cell division in laboratory petri dishes. Can this happen? Yes, we have seen this. If a living cell, if you provide it all the nutrition, everything that it needs, it will be able to multiply even outside the body. So one is correct. D is correct. A piece of DNA taken out from an animal cell can be made to replicate outside a living cell in a laboratory. Polymerase chain reaction. This is what happens in polymerase chain reaction. A piece of DNA, we create multiple copies of that piece of DNA. This is what happens in polymerase chain reaction. Pieces of artificial functional DNA can be created in laboratories. We had studied a topic called synthetic biology. In synthetic biology, one example that we did was in a yeast, we removed all its genome and we added a genome which has been created by us. So genome that has been created by us, a DNA that has been created by us, it means we can, pieces of artificial functional DNA can be created in laboratories. That is why we, in that yeast, we were able to add this new genome. So 3, 4, 5, B, C, D are correct. We know it, we know its examples also. Right? By that we can eliminate that first one is wrong. There are other aspects also. Let's understand other aspects. But even if you did not know very in-depth biotechnology, just by knowing B, C, D, you could have done it, and we have studied all B, C, D. We know all B, C, D, so there the challenge does not lie there. Okay, now functional chromosomes can be created by joining segments of DNA taken from cells of different species. Dekho, chromosomes are not just DNA. Chromosomes also involve, जैसे histone protein. It is around histone protein that chromosome, that DNA is wrapped around. So just by adding DNA from different organisms, you cannot create a functional chromosome. The other aspects also which needs to be taken care of, and we haven't done it yet. Okay, let's come to 199. RNA interference technology. 199, RNA interference technology has gained popularity in the last few years. Why? Why has RNA interference technology gained popularity? It is used in developing gene silencing. RNA interference is gene silencing. One is correct. It can be used in developing therapies for treatment of cancer. Some genes may be responsible for you getting affected by cancer. RNA interference, we can silence that gene. Right? So 2 is correct. It can be used to develop hormone replacement therapy. Ab dekho, hormone replacement is not just gene silencing. Gene silencing say you have prevented some hormone from getting formed. Right? So ये वाला issue है. It can be used to produce crop plants that are resistant to virtual pathogens. Yes, the way we were developing protection against cancer, in the same way you can develop protection against this. For example, let's understand this. Think of humans. वैसे the question is about crop plants, but think of humans. We are vulnerable to COVID because of ACE2. Now if we silence the gene related to ACE2, ACE2 will not be formed. COVID will not be able to enter the cell. Are we protected? In the same way, plants are getting affected by various viruses. उनका कोई receptor होगा. If we silent that receptor, if we silent mRNA associated with that receptor, can we achieve this? Yes. So here, what cannot be done? What can be done? 1 to 4 can be done. Answer should be A. Answer should be A. Are we comfortable here? Okay. Let's talk about 200. 200 to I think we have discussed in class. Both Bolgard 1 and Bolgard 2. Bolgard 1 mein we had used one gene Cry1AC. Bolgard 2 mein we used Cry1AC as well as Cry1AC के अलावा Cry2AB. These were two genes that we had used to make our BT cotton way more effective. Okay, so Bolgard 1 and Bolgard 2 are what? Developing GM crops. BT cotton के varieties थे. B is the answer. 201. DNA barcoding. Barcoding is used to do what? So fingerprinting is to identify individuals. Barcoding is to identify species. Barcoding is used to identify species. Assess the age of plant or animal? No. We can distinguish between species. We cannot assess the age. distinguish among species that look alike? Yes. If we have to differentiate between two different species, we can go at the DNA level and get their barcode, and barcode would be different. Even if they look alike, their barcode would be different. Do you remember, Abhi, recently we have, scientists have agreed that there is one more variety of Chinese pangolin. So far, sorry, not Chinese pangolin, pangolin. There are 8 pangolins known in the world, 4 in Africa, 4 in Asia. Out of 4 in Asia, 2 are found in India, Chinese pangolin and Indian pangolin. But recently, scientists say that there is one more variety of pangolin. They have found some scales, and by that, from the DNA that they got from there, they were able to say that there is one more species. They haven't seen that species because physically the two species may look similar, and that's why they haven't been able to differentiate. But by DNA analysis, they were able to identify that these are two different species. So the barcoding can help you in identifying different species even if they look alike. Okay, so this 2 is correct. Identify undesirable animals or plant material in processed food. We are differentiating species. Let's say in my food I do not want a particular kind of grass. Can that particular kind of grass be identified by DNA barcoding? Yes. So 2 and 3 should be correct. 1 is wrong. D should be the answer. 201, D should be the answer. Okay. 202, microsatellite DNA. Microsatellite is used for what? Mini satellite, microsatellite, they are where? Fingerprinting wala. Agar fingerprinting wala hai, to microsatellite DNA is used in case of which one of following? Studying the evolutionary relationship among various species of fauna. This is something where microsatellite could be used, right? Have we covered this in class? Mini satellite, microsatellite. Okay. So what should be the answer here? A. A should be the answer. So these were all the PYQs from biotechnology from 95 to 2023. Tomorrow, when we will be doing health, there also we will be doing some questions. They say when it comes to, there are a few more questions of biotechnology. For example, vaccination related question. I have put them in health category. Hormones related questions, I have put them in health category. So tomorrow we will be doing a few more questions which will be PYQs from health, which will also be kind of biotechnology, because we will be talking about medicines, we will be talking about vaccinations, we will be talking about hormones, hormone replacement and so on. But for now, these are the PYQs. Now we will discuss some other questions of biotechnology, some other questions which I have prepared. There are questions from very basic areas to very advanced areas. We will be doing that to further practice our biotechnology. I think we have 40-50 more questions. We have to start with 203, right? Okay, 203. 203. Production of which, take your time, jaldi nahi karna yahan pe, kyunki PYQs we had already done in the class in the past also, and that's why you may have, I quickly went through it, but here we'll take our time to carefully do it. Production of which of the following is our examples of modern biotech? All? Dekho, none of them is modern biotechnology, all of them are classical biotechnology. What is classical and what is modern? Modern biotechnology may we use things like genetic modification. This is possible by modern biotechnology. Classical biotechnology, old biotechnology. So we have been using curd, curd is application of biotechnology only. We use some bacteria to create curd. है ना, ऐसे wine में we do fermentation using yeast and all. So there also biotechnology. Now penicillin is a antibiotic. How do we produce penicillin? There is a mold. This mold, penicillium, it produces penicillin. Now we take that mold and we create, we provide an environment where it can grow a lot. We have not modified it. It grows a lot. From there we extract penicillin and we supply. So did we modify the bacteria? We did not modify the bacteria. If we had genetically modified it to produce more penicillin, then we would have said that that is an example of modern biotechnology. Else, all these are example of classical biotechnology. BT cotton is an example of modern biotechnology. And a Covaxin, the vaccine that we got, a Covishield, these are all example of modern biotechnology because there some changes in the gene may have been done. जैसे कोवैक्सीन में what did we do? We weakened the virus. कोवैक्सीन में COVID virus was put in your body, but the weakened form of COVID virus. Covishield में we took a virus, adenovirus, and there we added a gene of coronavirus. Right? Tomorrow we'll discuss various types of vaccination. There we'll talk about these things in more detail. All those are examples of modern biotechnology. आते हैं, पढ़ेंगे, वो भी करेंगे, है ना? जहां भी जेनेटिक मॉडिफिकेशन हो जाएगा उसे हम बोल देंगे. राइट, लेट्स कम टू क्वेश्चन नंबर 204. Which of the following statements is not correct? Question number 4. 204. A is not correct. Gene is the basic physical and functional unit of hereditary, not DNA. Na? DNA pe there can be multiple genes. Gene is the smallest hereditary unit that you can get. If you break down a gene further, you will not get anything. Gene is the smallest unit that you can get. For example, in BT cotton, we added what? We added a Cry1AC gene. We did not add the whole DNA of bacteria in the cotton plant. We just added a gene, because by that we can inherit one feature. So when we are talking about basic physical and functional unit, we talk about the smallest physical and functional unit of hereditary, that is gene, and is not DNA. A is the answer here. Did we get it? Did we all understand it? Okay. 205. Consider the following segments about DNA. एक सेकंड दी, you attempt this question. What was 205? Consider the following statements about DNA. DNA is a polymer of ribonucleotides. It's a polymer of deoxyribonucleotide. RNA is the polymer of ribonucleotides. Deoxyribonucleic acid, ribonucleic acid. I had focused on this in class also. The ribose sugar, the sugar, pentose sugar is deoxyribose sugar in DNA. Whereas in RNA it is just ribose sugar. So DNA, one is wrong. In humans, DNA is only located in nucleus of a cell. It's also there in mitochondria. In plants, it is also there in plastids. Other than in the nucleus, it's also there in plastids in case of plants. So 2 is also wrong. So 3 is left. 3 should be correct. The order and sequence of base pairs of DNA determine the information available for building and maintaining an organism. So if you change the order, the type of protein changes, right? 3 only. C is the answer. 206. 206. Tell me. Take your time, read it carefully and then. अच्छा, PYQs आपने ना सब पहले से कर रखे थे, फटाफट आंसर आ रहे थे. When it came to different types of questions, you're taking time. Nice. Sorry? Come on. Both are correct. Only 2 is correct. DNA profiling is a forensic technique used to identify individuals by characteristic of their DNA. Okay. determines the gene's functionality and position in. One is wrong. DNA, देखो, DNA profiling determines a gene's functionality and position in the chromosome. That is done by gene mapping, no, not profiling. DNA profiling does not. DNA profiling में we segregate people based on their features, right? In gene mapping, gene's functionality and position, like you map this gene 1, gene 2, and it is responsible for this protein, it is responsible for this protein. It is then done by gene mapping. DNA profiling में क्या होता है? You segregate different group, like person who has this DNA will be having these features. That is DNA profiling. So DNA profiling is forensic technique used to identify individuals by characteristic of their DNA. Okay, A should be the answer here. A should be the answer. Okay, 206, A is the answer. 207. 207, DNA fingerprinting. अच्छा, एक तो factual चीज है. Yes, it was invented in 1984 by Professor Sir Alex Jeffreys. DNA fingerprinting was invented by him. He had realized that he could detect variation in human genome in the satellite DNA region. Mini satellite region में there was, they say, if I look at my gene and what's your name? Rahul's gene, there is not a lot of difference. We are producing similar kind of protein. Our genetic material is same by like 99.99%. But when it goes to the non-functional part, when it goes to the satellite part, non-functional part of gene, in the satellite part, there is a lot of uniqueness. His satellite and my satellites are very different. So those mini satellites are used for identifying us, differentiating us. This is what is done in fingerprinting, DNA fingerprinting. DNA fingerprinting में individuals को differentiate कर पाते हो आप. जैसे your fingerprint would be unique when compared to this person's fingerprint. ऐसे ही DNA fingerprint would also be unique because he had realized that he could detect variations in human genome in the satellite DNA region. Otherwise, 99.9% of our genes are same, but variation is where? In the satellite region. Satellite region is different, and using that we can identify, differentiate between people. So, what should be the answer here? See, both are correct. Okay, let's come to 208. 208. Tell me. See, while teaching you fingerprinting, I had said fingerprint would be unique for everyone except identical twins. Who are identical twins? Identical twins are those twins, they were initially a single egg. तो उनका gene exactly same है, and that single egg some got split into two. So they are exactly same, genetically they are exactly same. So twins can be of two types. One is two different eggs were fertilized. So two different type of people would be, one can be male, other can be female, both can be male, their features may be different. But other way in which twin can be formed is a single egg was fertilized, that egg split into two, and then those two split eggs developed differently into different human beings. But their gene is exactly same, so their fingerprint would also be same. So answer here would be C. Answer here would be C. Are we getting it? Okay. बहुत differentiation नहीं होता, उतने detail में नहीं जाएंगे. Similar होते हैं. हाँ. 209. DNA fingerprinting can be used for which of the following? देखो, notice something. DNA fingerprinting has been asked multiple times in the past, and then recently they asked about microsatellite and all. That was also kind of DNA fingerprinting. Because they've asked so many times, I'm trying to include every aspect of it in questions, because this is an area which is important for UPSC. Okay, let's come to this question. DNA fingerprinting can be used for which of the following? पक्का, जल्दी नहीं करना है, सही करना है। 1 2 3 4 सही है। आइडेंटिफाई इंडिविजुअल या डेड बॉडीज, फिंगरप्रिंटिंग यूनिक इंडिविजुअल्स को आइडेंटिफाई कर रहा है तो वो तो कर ही सकते हैं, राइट। डिटरमाइन पैटर्निटी, यस दैट कैन बी डन। मैच टिश्यू ऑफ ऑर्गन डोनर्स विद दोज ऑफ पीपल हु नीड ट्रांसप्लांट, दिस कैन ऑल्सो बी डन because the more similarity would be there in the fingerprint, more acceptable the organ would be. Identify disease which are passed through family, yes this can also be done through fingerprinting. Help find cure of disease called देखो it will not itself find but it can help, because see agar 4 is correct, identify disease which are passed through family, then 5 would also be true, because if you can identification is the first step towards curing something, so it is helping in the cure in that sense. So 1 2 3 4 and 5, D should be the answer. 209, D should be the answer. Fine. Silence, yes, yes, no, yes, what happens is with the help of fingerprint, because see look at this determining paternity, your and your father's fingerprint can help you, can help in identifying कि this child has come from यहाँ से, this parent, है ना। तो if your parent had certain genes, certain diseases, you may also have that kind of aspect could be there. Though fingerprint is non-functional, but through fingerprinting you're determining paternity, so you're determining these aspects also. Yes, that is, yes, you're right. You may not have any, but there is probability, so we can take steps, precautionary steps, right? When our parents have diabetes, if doctors tell us both your parents have diabetes, so you also be careful, there are higher chances that you will get it. 210, DNA barcoding. अरे क्या बोला, सबको पढ़ने दोगे, है ना। अच्छा आप टीचर ही है ना, आप ऐसे बच्चों को डांटते नहीं है क्लास में, तो पहले डांटते नहीं थे अब छोड़ दिया, अब आई डोंट केयर अबाउट टीचर्स, ऐसा सबको, लाइक देयर इज अ प्रोसेस, एवरीवन शुड रीड द क्वेश्चन एंड देन विल आंसर, लेट मी एटलीस्ट रीड द क्वेश्चन, है ना। आई ऑल्सो वांट टू एक्सपीरियंस दिस। डीएनए बारकोडिंग कैन बी यूज्ड व्हिच ऑफ द फॉलोइंग? So barcoding is for species determination. Barcoding is for species determination. So one, identify individuals within species and dead bodies. Nahi, it is fingerprinting. Determining paternity, again for fingerprinting, right? 1 and 2 are wrong. Determining species of a living organism, yes. Identifying insect larva. देखो larva of various insects look similar, but their DNA barcode will be unique. So different species can be determined. So identifying insect larva which may have fewer diagnostic characteristic than adult. So larva will have fewer diagnostic characteristic, so their barcode will be unique. By that we can identify the species. So 3 and 4 are correct. 3 and 4 are correct, right? What should be the answer? B should be the answer. 211. Consider the following statements about dark DNA. D. D for dog. B for boy nahi. B. Some are B for boy also. A for apple, C for cat. No one apple cat. Only boys and dogs. The sequence of DNA which causes genetic disease are known as dark DNA. No. Dark DNA is that part of DNA which has not been mapped yet. Expressed to hua hoga. Has not been mapped yet. These sections of DNA have not been sequenced and don't encode any protein. 2 is also wrong. They have not been sequenced, but they may still encode protein. They have not been sequenced. हम उसे sequence नहीं कर पाए because our sequencing technology is not good enough. But they are expressed. So both are wrong. D is the answer. D is the answer. Okay. How many of you don't know anything about dark DNA? Yes, some of you have not been able to answer it. Okay. Do you understand what dark matter is? What is dark matter? What's your name? Harsh, you tell me. Which doesn't interact with much of the light, and that's why we are not able to see it, but it's there. Its impact is also there. Dark matter's impact is also there. It is said that the matter that we can see around us, the matter that we have studied, is a very small percentage of matter that exists in the universe. There's a lot of dark matter also. Without dark matter, the gravity would not have, the galaxy would not have been held together. There's more mass, so its impact is visible. Galaxy is being held together, but we haven't been able to study it. We haven't been able to see it. Its impact is visible. In the same way, on a DNA, there is some dark DNA. Its impact is visible. Its protein can be seen, but we haven't studied the gene yet. We haven't sequenced the gene yet. Did we understand? So, how did we come to know about dark DNA? Let's go to the background. Scientists were studying some rats. They mapped their gene and they found some of the crucial genes are missing. In the absence of these genes, this rat should not be able to survive. How are they surviving? Those genes are absent. How are these rats surviving? Scientists studied those rats and found they have the protein. They don't have the gene, but they have the associated protein. It means we still are not able to see some genes. Like we were not able to see some matter, dark matter. We are not able to see some genes, but it is getting expressed. So our gene editing tools are not good enough. The way our scientific advancement to study matter is not good enough to study dark matter. In the same way, our gene mapping tools are not good enough. We haven't been able to map everything. There is some unmapped region which our current technology cannot study, but that unmapped region is playing its role. Its proteins are getting formed. Are we getting it? So, sequence of DNA which causes genetic disease are known as dark DNA. No, not necessarily it's causing genetic diseases. Okay, these sections of DNA have not been sequenced. This is correct, but they don't encode any protein is wrong. They may be encoding protein, right? So both are wrong. Answer is D. Answer is D here. Okay, 211. Answer is D. Let's go to 212. Question number 212. Question number 212. Tell me. D? Sure. Anyone else, any other answer? All are correct. All are correct. RNA can store genetic information in RNA virus. RNA stores genetic information. RNAs play a crucial role in manufacture of protein. mRNA, tRNA, rRNA, they all play a role in manufacture of protein. RNAs generally have much shorter chain of nucleotide than DNA. This is a specific thing that we had studied. Okay, so 1, 2 and 3 all are correct. Okay, D should be the answer. 213. Which of the following pairs are correctly matched? मेरे को तो read करने दो ना कम से कम. Let me. How would I verify whether what you're saying is correct or not? What is the answer? B. B for Bombay. D. D for dog. Anyone dog? No one dog. Only boys. Yeah, B. Any doubts here? 214. Consider the following statements about the advantages of traditional hybridization over genetic modification. यहाँ पे ना traditional hybridization is easier, not easy, easier, because we are comparing it with gene modification, no? So it is easier. Lakshmikant is saying, sir, please provide day-wise topics for rest of the subjects also. ठीक है ना, हाँ, we'll provide it to you. We'll provide it to you. अरे लक्ष्मीकांत स्टूडेंट का नाम है भाई, हंसे क्यों इस बात पे? नहीं, वो स्टूडेंट का नाम है, ठीक है. Let's come to B, 214. Tell me. Traditional hybridization leads to precise inclusion of genes? No. Hybridization में तो any genes may get included. Genetic modification leads to precise inclusion. One is wrong. Traditional hybridization process is easier to perform. GMs के comparison में traditional hybridization is easier. We have been doing hybridization for many years. Genetic modification has happened only after very high advancements. Okay, so what is the answer? B. Yes. Consider the following statements about CRISPR. It's a genome editing tool which is simpler, faster, more versatile and cheaper than other prominent genome editing tool. Yes. The tool is inspired from mechanism used by various bacteria to fight. Yes. The 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics went to CRISPR-Cas9. Physics नहीं है ना, पहला देखो 2022 Nobel Prize in Physics went to quantum entanglement, right? वो पढ़ेंगे अपन, we'll do questions on quantum entanglement. But 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry, UPSC will not ask this kind of statement, but 2020 Nobel Prize in Chemistry had gone to developers of CRISPR-Cas9. Okay, so what is the answer? 1, 2, A. 215, A. 216. Consider the following statements about CRISPR-Cas9. Tell me. B. 1 is wrong for sure, right? So far CRISPR-Cas9 hasn't been shown any success in curing genetic. This is wrong. We have seen that it has done. 2 and 3 are correct. 2 and 3 are correct. B. Yes. 216 B. 217. Consider the following statements about T cells. D. Sure. नहीं हुआ तो बोलो, नहीं हुआ तो मुझे बिरयानी खिलाओगे? मेरा तो नुकसान ज्यादा हो जाएगा. चलो फिर डिफिकल्ट वाले क्वेश्चन में शर्त रखेंगे. ओनली 1. तुम तो बिरयानी खिला देना तुम, है ना. माय फेवरेट इज मटन बिरयानी. ओके. तुम वेजिटेरियन तो नहीं हो ना? क्या हो? मौकाटेरियन हो? मौके में कहीं मुझे ना निपटा देना किसी दिन. चलिए. T cells are a type of white. देखो, T cells, B cells, these are all white blood cells. They are formed from hematopoietic stem cells. Blood stem cells या hematopoietic stem cells से ही white blood cells, red blood cells, and their various types are formed. 2 is also correct. They are also called thymocytes. T term comes from thymocyte. Okay. And mutations in T cell genes may lead to T cell turning against the body and ending up destroying health cells. This is a type of cancer which happens like जैसे a T cell acute lymphoblastic leukemia, T-all is name of one of the disease, which is the 4th one. So 4th is also correct. 1, 2, 3, 4. D is the answer. Which of the following statements best describe the role of B cells and T cells in the human body? I think ये तो वो है ना, PYQ है ना? हाँ, I think by mistake I should have added it there rather than here. है ना? Which of the following statements best describe the role of B cells and T cells in human body? They protect the body from environmental allergens. They elevate the body's pain and inflammation. They act as immunosuppressants. They protect the body from pathogens. D should be the right? Pathogens से protect कर रहा है. 218 D. 219. Consider the following statements about genetic mutation. Tell me. Only two. सब B बोल रहे हैं, वो only two बोल रहे हैं. All genetic mutations are functional? नहीं. देखो, only those genetic mutation which result in something useful are functional. Others are not functional. आप radiation दो, any genetic mutation may happen. That genetic mutation may not be of any use. Right? Let's say I am given some high amount of radiation and some genetic mutation happen and my black hair become white. It may not be of any function use, right? Or some other gene change happened जिससे nothing changed in my behavior, in my physical aspect. That mutation is not functional. So not every genetic mutation may be functional. Okay, so one is wrong. A number of recombinant lineage of इसके तो बहुत सारे वेरिएंट बने ही हैं. Fine, fine. Two is correct. B 220. Let's come to 220. Let me read the question at least. ऐसे ना विवेक से इंटरव्यू पूछा जाएगा. अच्छा आप बताइए आप किस होगा, ये सोचेगा किस शहर से हैं, अपने शहर के बारे में बताने लगेगा, है ना, स्टेट से है. आप किस कारण से आईएएस बनना चाहते हैं, सवाल ये था. पर वो भाई किस पे ही रुक गया, है ना. ऐसा नहीं करना है, पूरा क्वेश्चन रीड करने दीजिए मुझे भी. आप नाराज तो नहीं हो रहे विवेक मुझसे, पक्का ना. हाँ, मैं ऐसे मजाक मस्ती करता रहता हूँ क्लास में. हाँ नहीं, मैं मजाक मस्ती करता रहता हूँ क्लास में. 220. With reference to agriculture in India, how can the technique of genome sequencing often seen in news be used in immediate future? ये भी PYQ है यार. I should have included it in PYQs. This is also a PYQ. Genome sequence can be used to identify genetic markers for disease resistance and drought tolerance in various crops. This can be done. Genome sequencing can be used to identify genetic markers for disease resistance. This technique helps in reducing the time required to develop new varieties of crops. It can be used to decipher the host pathogen relationship. Tell me. All are correct? Vivek says all correct. Anyone else, any other answer? What is Pratadna saying? What's your answer? All? सोच लो. सोचने लगी है वो. हंसना नहीं है, सोचना है. Anyone else? Anything else? All are correct. Yes. First statement. Genome sequencing can be used to identify genetic markers for disease resistance and drought tolerance in various crops. See what happens. Genome sequencing में you will be able to identify all the genes. Gene 1, gene 2, gene 3, gene 4. By that you can know this gene will produce this protein. This gene will so this crop is resistant because it has this protein. This crop is not resistant because it does not have that protein. So we can mark which gene is responsible for this feature, right? Anything else? 2 or 3 में any doubts in 2 and 3? No. Let's come to 221. Golden rice. Tell me. B. Boy, dog. Dog. No boys. कोई भी boy नहीं है. Yes. D. All are wrong. Golden rice has been developed by International Rice Research Institute. India is not cultivating any food crop which is genetically modified. BT brinjal is being cultivated illegally in some parts, but any food crop which is genetically modified is not being. GM modification has led to increased percentage of protein in the golden rice, increased percentage of vitamin A, beta carotene, not protein. Golden rice, beta carotene. Okay, so D. 221, D is the answer. Fine. let's go to 222. Sorry, which mustard? Dhara mustard is genetically modified. अरे भाई यहाँ पूछा गोल्डन राइस के बारे में ना. What are you saying? We are not cultivating Dhara mustard hybrid 11 yet. Food crop कोई नहीं कर रहे हैं. Cotton कर रहे हैं. Cotton is not a food crop. Otherwise, we are not cultivating any food crop. Dhara mustard hybrid 11 is also not getting cultivated. 222. Environmental release approve हुआ है. Cultivation, commercial cultivation अभी approve नहीं हुआ है. December 2022 में Ministry of Environment had approved environmental release for testing purposes. Okay, 222. See, हाँ देखो, one is wrong. It's not from fungus. It is from, okay. It has never been approved by GEAC. In 2009, it was approved. इसको biosafety approval मिला था. It has resistance against insect like brinjal fruit and shoot borer. Yes. So 3 is correct. C is the answer. 223. Genetic Engineering Appraisal Committee. It is the final approving authority for allowing commercial use of genetically modified food crop in India. Ministry अभी तो समझाया था. GEAC approved BT brinjal, फिर भी रुक गया ना चीज. GEAC is not the final authority. It is an autonomous body working under Ministry of Science Technology. No, it is under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. प्रताड़ना मारने वाले हो किसी को? चेयर टूट गया है, आपने इतनी जोर से मारा है तो नहीं. It's an autonomous body working under Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. So what is the answer? D. Both are wrong. Ministry of Environment, Forest and Climate Change. Question number 24. क्या आंसर? ए बी सी डी में से बोलिए. ए बी सी डी. बी. विवेक सेज बी. एनीवन एल्स? सी. यू आर सेइंग सी. एनीवन एल्स? ए डी में से कोई है? नहीं. बी और सी. हाउ मेनी ऑफ यू आर सेइंग बी? few of you are saying B. C. Some of you are saying C. Okay. Genetically modified organisms are able to draw on diversity of all living organisms to extract beneficial genetic material. So organisms which are genetically modified take genes from other organisms. So all we know that we can take genes from all living organisms. So 1 is correct, right? Gene edited organisms, not GMO. Gene edited are those where you have edited the gene but have not added gene from outside. If you go in my body and make some cut and remove some gene, I'll be gene edited, not gene modified. Okay, so gene edited organisms are limited to changing the standard genetic material in ways that could be beneficial. This is also true. Suppose some protein in my body is creating problems, so my gene can be edited. That protein would go away. So only the standing genetic material is modified. I'm not taking genes from other organisms. So that is gene editing. 2 is correct. Both GMOs and gene edited organisms provide potent mechanism to develop next generation crops. Yes, we can have newer varieties of crops by both the mechanisms. Fine. BT cotton, BT brinjal and golden rice are example of gene edited crops. No, they are example of gene modified crops. So 1, 2 and 3, C should be the answer. C should be the answer. 225. 225. They are a group of sulfur. हाँ, A is the answer. स्वयं मैं स्वयं कर लूंगा ये. तुम अपना पढ़ो. ये तुम क्लासरूम में कैप काहे लगाए हुए हो? धूप से बचने के लिए, अपना चेहरा छिपाने के लिए. हंसी तुम लोगों को बहुत आती है बेचारे. चलिए, they are a group of sulfur and nitrogen containing compounds which contribute to characteristic pungency of mustard oil and meal. Yes. तो देखो, इंडिया में जो सरसों तेल, like mustard oil that we use, like in North India, mustard oil is very common. In my home, food is cooked in mustard oil. Now I do not know what has happened over the last few years, but generally in my childhood we used to use mustard oil. But mustard oil is something which is not eatable by everyone. Like people who are not used to that pungent smell would not like the mustard oil. And that pungent smell there comes from this chemical, glucosinolate. Glucosinolate is the chemical which is responsible for this pungent smell. Now this chemical, this group of chemical is found in other oils also, but in much lesser quantity. ये canola oil. Canola oil में its glucosinolate is only 30 parts per million. Whereas in mustard oil, it's 120 parts per million. Right? For this reason, mustard oil is not consumed by everyone, or people who have not been used to. Like, for example, in my case, from my very childhood, I have been eating mustard oil. So for me, mustard, that smell is not problematic, or that pungency is not problematic. But for many people, it may be okay. But the bigger issue is with its meal. So what is meal? Meal is the oil cake. Do you know what oil cake is? When mustard is pressed, oil is extracted. आप एक कोशिश करिए, अगले 5 मिनट कुछ नहीं बोलेंगे, कुछ नहीं, ओके भी नहीं. Next 5 minutes you would not say anything. Okay, try this. Okay, so what were we saying? Meal is oil cake. When we press mustard, we extract oil. The solid part that is left, we give it to animals. In Hindi it is called khal. In different languages it may be called different thing. We're talking about that. Now that meal, mustard meal, is not palatable by poultry or pigs. Even for cattle, we have to mix it with other things, water and other aspects, because of presence of a lot of glucosinolates. Did we understand what glucosinolate is? Okay. Now, do I need to discuss more about it? Recently, some gene-edited mustards were created for this. So I'll tell you what has happened. Glucosinolate is produced in the leaves of the plant and in the pod. So seeds, you know, have you seen mustard plant? Mustard plant has a pod in which seeds are there. So on the pod it is produced. It's not produced in the mustard seed. It is transferred in mustard seed with the help of genes called GTR, glucosinolate transfer genes. So recently, scientists in India created a gene-edited mustard which will block the functioning of this GTR. So while glucosinolate is produced in the plant, it is not getting transferred to oil, to seeds. So there are 12 genes, 12 different kinds of GTR genes which were responsible for the transfer. 10 of them were edited. So even now some transfer is taking place. Some glucosinolate is there in the seed, the way it is there in canola oil and everything else, but it is in much lower quantity. So this oil will be more palatable, and the meal that will be formed of it, will also be more palatable by animals. You know, in mustard oil, in US, mustard oil sale is not allowed, or it's allowed for external use only. People, Indians, when they buy mustard oil in US, they buy it in the form of, I'm using it for external use. That external use, because mustard oil has more amount of uric acid than what is allowed there. There are some issues, some health issues, but again in India it's a very common type of oil. Right? I am sure about North India like Rajasthan, Haryana, Uttar Pradesh, Bihar, West Bengal. These are places where mustard oil is very common. In South India, what is the most common oil that we use? Sunflower. Who's from South India? Which oil? Sunflower oil. Okay. Sunflower oil. Okay. Sunflower. So groundnut is another major oil type, which is vegetable oil, which is produced in the country. So groundnut is pretty common. Mustard is pretty common. Sunflower is getting used in some places. Okay. Til ka tel, yes, that is also used in some places. Okay. Anyways, did we understand what glucosinolate is? RST13. P. 5 minutes हो गए. So this time let's try it for 10 minutes. Silence. 8:20 to 8:30. Right now it's 8:20, 8:30. Okay. RST13 was in news recently. It refers to reduced height. RST is reduced height. So see, when we developed a new variety of wheat which had more seeds and bigger seeds, what would happen? The plant will become unbalanced because at the top there are more seeds, the top is becoming heavier. So though it was found that those wheat plants used to fall down easily. With wind and with andhi and all, with storm and all, it used to fall down easily and get destroyed. Then farmers identified reduced height genes. The size of the plant, let it get smaller. Reduced height will be more balanced. More importantly, now a lot of nutrition is not going in making of the stem. Most of the nutrition is going in what? The seeds. This was another advantage of reduced height gene. So RST13 is one of, there are many, like around 20 reduced height genes which have been identified. RST13 was in news recently, is one of those genes. Reduced height genes have increased global yield of wheat because the short stemmed wheat puts more investment in the grains. In stem there will be less investment and thus more investment will go in grains. It leads to reduced risk of lodging. It increases the partitioning and assimilation of grains. That's also true. Because more nutrition is going into grains, so the more partitioning, more assimilation would take place. So 1, 2 and 3. D. It's like seeds, grains. When you look at the grains, no, you will see separate seeds are emerging. More and more seeds are emerging. That is what is being discussed. Okay, 228. Consider the following statements. Genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperms. I think this is also a PYQ. I do not know why I have kept some PYQs here. It should have been discussed at the top only. Genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs or sperms of a prospective parent. Can we do genetic changes there? Yes. Why can't? Why? You do not have sperm stored right now. Sure. That is true. Are you sure about it? मैं देखना था, मुझे भी नहीं पता ये तो. Sperms कहाँ स्टोर होते हैं? It is produced. Let me see this. Do we store sperms? If we are not storing it, how do we have nightfalls? तो it must be there, no? कैसी बात कर रहे हो? You have studied it. Okay, let me get back to this question again. He has asked a genuine doubt. So so genetic changes can be introduced in the cells that produce eggs. देखो, here we are not saying in eggs or in sperms. Cells that produce it. Cells that produce eggs or sperms. Cells that produce sperms. Can we make genetic changes there? Yes, we can make genetic changes there. a person's genome can be edited before birth at the early embryonic stage. That is when, if we edit the genome, it will be reflected in the entire body. Human induced pluripotent stem cells can be injected into embryo of a pig. Inject to kar hi sakte hai na. Whether it will be functional, useful, that's a different thing. Can we inject it? Yes, we can inject it. Question is about injection, right? So 1, 2 and 3. 228, what is the answer? D. 229. Which of the following COVID-19 vaccines are correctly matched? That's a type of vaccines वाले form. देखो, Covaxin is weakened inactivated virus. So one is wrongly matched. Covishield is viral vector. Viral vector. Which virus is modified to produce Covishield? Adenovirus. Adenovirus has been modified to produce Covishield. So 2 is also wrong. Corbevax soberana. This is, let me just verify. Even I do not remember these. What is the question number? 229. Corbevax is protein subunit vaccine and soberana is a conjugate vaccine. We have studied this in class, but I did not remember it. Both of them are correct. Corbevax is protein subunit and soberana a conjugate COVID-19 vaccine developed in Cuba. Okay, 3 and 4 are correct. B should be the answer. 229 में B should be the answer. 229 में B should be the answer. Let's go to 230. चलो let's make it the biryani question. नहीं, विवेक आप भी बोल सकते हैं. आप लोग सब सही दे दोगे तो मैं आप सबको बिरयानी खिलाऊंगा. आप में से कोई गलत देगा तो आप सब मुझे खिलाएंगे. तो मेरा रिस्क भी तो ज्यादा है ना. आ जाइए. Consider the following statements. It's easy, not that difficult. Try it. Go through the question carefully. B. कोई और आंसर नहीं है. एवरीवन इज बी. सब बिरयानी के लिए कितने लालची हो ना. आपका आंसर दूसरा भी आ रहा है तो बदल नहीं रहे हो. बी श्योर. लेट्स सी. इंसुलिन इज द, तो बी में यू आर सेइंग ओनली 2 पेयर इज करेक्ट. इंसुलिन इज द फर्स्ट लाइसेंस ड्रग प्रोड्यूस्ड यूजिंग रिकॉम्बिनेंट डीएनए टेक्नोलॉजी इज करेक्ट. First drug to be produced which has been licensed for production also is insulin. Okay. Using recombinant DNA technology. So what happened in case of insulin was human genome was removed जिससे insulin बनता है and we added it in other microorganisms like bacteria and ये alcohol किससे बनता है? Yeast and all. We added it there and they produced a lot of insulin. That is how artificially we created insulin. So 1 is correct. E. coli bacteria is an important route to produce recombinant human insulin. This is also correct. E. coli or yeast, we use that. Third, Saccharomyces cerevisiae is the only, it is not the only, it is the most important yeast used in the large scale commercial production of insulin, not the only. There are other yeast also which are used. So that's why 3 is wrong. Recombinant human insulin has been successfully expressed and produced in plants also. This is correct. Oh, this is correct. So in scientists are experimenting with how do देखो with increase in life expectancy. Silence. सुनो. With increase in life expectancy, with more elderly population, with our diets changing, with our lifestyle changing, more people are expected to have diabetes in future. So scientists are exploring mechanism by which they can produce more insulin. Right now, the yeast mechanism or the E. coli mechanism by which insulin is being produced, it requires a lot of resources and less amount of insulin is produced. So we are thinking, why don't we put the gene of insulin in plants? And plants produce lot more insulin. So scientists are experimenting with it and they have been successfully able to achieve this. So 4 is correct. Biryani gayi? I'm getting a biryani from all of you? Nahi? Chalo, koi baat nahi. 1, 2 and 4. 1, 2 and 4. 3. What is the answer? C is the answer. 230, C is the answer. देखो जहां पे आपको बिरयानी वाला क्वेश्चन पूछा आपने बताया नहीं, ऐसे सब जल्दी 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 रीड क्वेश्चंस केयरफुली. ओके. 231. उसने देखा एग्जैक्टली 10 मिनट हो गए, बात खत्म. 231. Consider the following statements about CAR T cell therapy. It's a therapy to modify immune cells by turning them into potent cancer fighters. Right? Correct? Yahi tha. The modified immune cell in CAR T cell therapy is also known as living drugs. Correct? Because the cell are living and they are going and fighting cancer cells, so they are also known as living drugs. Even in our notes we had emphasized on this. It can also be used in treatment of non-responsive cancer patients. इतने confidence के साथ कैसे बोलते हो? It can be used. That is one of the advantages. जो cancer patients are not responding to radiotherapy, chemotherapy, any of those things, even there we can use what? CAR T cell therapy. In fact, it has been recommended that it should be first used in those people jinka other treatment has been non-responsive and effective. Okay. The therapy needs to be booster dosed at regular interval to ensure lifelong benefits. It's a one-time thing. Gene therapy mein one-time thing. So the 4th is wrong. So what is the answer? C. 231 C. Receptor नहीं, responsive. Still. हाँ बात में पूछिए. चलिए. 232. रीड करने दो ना. हाँ रीड करते हैं. हाँ नेक्स्ट कार 19 इंडिया's फर्स्ट इंडिजिनसली डेवलप्ड CAR T सेल थेरेपी. अभी किसने डेवलप किया ये? टाटा, वो जो महाराष्ट्र वाले हैं. व्हाट इज द नेम ऑफ द कंपनी? नहीं, there's a IIT Bombay based company which has come, new startup, Immunoact. That is the name of the company. Okay, so 232 A is correct. 233. Next car 19. Which of the following is our advantages of next car 19 over other types of CAR T cell therapy developed in Western countries? Affordable है and lab studies have shown it to have lower drug related toxicities. Both these are true. C. 233 C. 234. 234. C? Yes, 1 and 3 are correct. देखो, hemophilia A, hemophilia B, these are all genetic disorders, rare genetic disorders में we have studied it. This is a bit tricky question, unnecessarily tricky question. So even if you did not know it, that's fine. Just learn it here. Don't get discouraged by this कि you did not know this question. It's a hereditary blood disorder. In this disease, what happens is, in case of injury, clotting doesn't happen. So you overbleed. Hemophilia diseases are associated with that. Hemophilia A happens because of factor 8 deficiency. And hemophilia B happens because of factor 9. Hemophilia A is one of those diseases, hemophilia B is another diseases. So this statement was about hemophilia B, and hemophilia B happens because of factor 9 deficiency. Factor 9 is associated with a clotting protein. Not by factor A. That's why 2 is wrong, otherwise 1 and 3 are correct here. Okay, let's go to 235. 235. Consider the following statements about polymerase chain reaction. बताइए सी ए ए देखो वायरल डिजीजेस में ना जनरली वी यूज RT-PCR, बट PCR is a part of it. First we'll do reverse transcription, then PCR. So PCR can be used for detection of HIV in suspected AIDS patient. Yes, we can do that. It works on the principle of antigen antibody interaction. नहीं, वो तो ELISA है ना. ELISA test is on antigen antibody response, where what happens, we do not look for antigen, we look for antibody. For example, if I get COVID, एक antibody test आता है. Antibody test में we look for antibody, and by that we determine कि yes, you are suffering from COVID. But RT-PCR test was doing what? RT-PCR was actually taking samples and looking for the virus. So it is not, PCR test is not on the principle of antigen antibody interaction. PCR test is not on the principle of antigen antibody interaction. Are you getting it? So what is the answer? A is the answer. A is the answer. Okay. 236. National guidelines for gene therapy products. Development and clinical trial were released by which of the following bodies? तो ये थोड़ा पुराना है, like 2019-20 का guideline है, but because this year gene therapy has been in news a lot, so guidelines, who released guidelines related to gene therapy? Indian Council of Medical Research. So gene therapy would be done by doctors. So how it should be done, what is allowed, what is not allowed, which test is allowed, which experiment is allowed, it will be done by Indian Council of Medical Research. 237. Environmental DNA. एक prelims में क्वेश्चन आया था एरियल मेटाजेनोमिक्स का. We had not studied aerial metagenomics in class, we had studied environmental DNA in class, you could have done it by that. So environmental DNA based assay can be used for. So what is environmental DNA? Environmental DNA is when you, let's say, taking up sample from the air, so you collect a lot of pollens, and then, so that is the DNA that you have collected from environment, or you are taking some samples from water, like you are collecting floating particles from on a lake, and after that you are doing barcoding. So you have understood from that environmental DNA which are all the species whose some component was floating. Okay, so detecting invasive fish species in water bodies, can this be done? African catfish, उसके सेल का एक छोटा सा टुकड़ा, a small part of its cell may be floating, you have collected it by DNA barcoding, you have identified it is African catfish, which is an invasive species. Understanding the species of the pollen, knowing the age of plant. No, age of plant cannot be known by environmental DNA or anything like that. So 1 and 2 would be the answer. C would be the answer. Which of the following are not true about stem cells? 238. Not true पूछा है, पहले ये ध्यान रखेंगे, है ना? Stem cells are only found in embryonic stage. Wrong. Stem cells are found in adult body also. 1 is wrong. Some specialized cells can be converted into stem cells by modifying them genetically. Right? We call it induced stem cells. We have modified those stem cells to become stem cells. So 2 is also correct. 2 is correct. 1 is wrong. Stem cells can be used to repair and regenerate tissues, but whole organ can't be developed from them. Whole organs can also be developed. So 3 is also wrong. So 1 is wrong, 3 is wrong, and not true has been asked. So answer would be C. 238, answer would be C. 239. Consider the following statements about controlled human infection model study. बताइए। ए कंट्रोल ह्यूमन इन्फेक्शन मॉडल, इंडिया में वी हैव नॉट अलाउड कंट्रोल ह्यूमन इन्फेक्शन मॉडल येट। तो अच्छा, व्हाट इज कंट्रोल ह्यूमन इन्फेक्शन मॉडल, डू वी अंडरस्टैंड, यू ऑल अंडरस्टैंड दैट? ओके, तो इंडिया में वी हैवंट allowed control human infection model yet, but when we allow it, medicines could be tested locally on local people easily and medicines could become more relevant. Okay, that's why 1 is correct and 2 is incorrect. एक exception है ना वो, नहीं ना, government has recently allowed the use of Kim studies for drug testing. For drug testing Kim studies have been allowed, नहीं, एक exceptional for one case it has been. 240. Which of the following correctly define nuclear matrix? Now you may not have studied what nuclear matrix is, but you have studied everything else. Look at other definitions, you know other things, and by that you will be able to understand that nuclear matrix must be this thing. For example, let's go to D. A thick solution that fills each cell and is enclosed by cell membrane. What fills cell? Cytoplasm. So D is the definition of cytoplasm. It's not nuclear matrix. Okay, C पे आते हैं. It is largest nuclear organelle and is primarily site of ribosome subunit biogenesis in eukaryotic cells. It is the largest nuclear organelle. Nucleus के अंदर सबसे बड़ा organelle and is primarily site of ribosome subunit biogenesis. Nucleolus. Nucleolus is the part inside nucleus which does that. B पे आओ, it is a region within a prokaryotic cell that contains most or all of the genetic material. Prokaryotic में genetic material कहाँ होता है? Nucleoid में. Nucleoid has most of the genetic material in prokaryotes we do not have nuclear membrane, we do not have a nucleus, so where is most of the genetic material located? Nucleoid. So what is left? A scaffolding that helps package genome differently in different types of cell. That is nuclear matrix. Moreover, matrix is telling you थोड़ा ना वो net जैसा situation, net type of thing. So that's why a scaffolding matches with that. Got it? So this is it for today. I'll see you tomorrow with biology, health, and some questions on computer and IT. Fine. Electronics will be starting after that in the 4th session. 5 PM. 5 PM. है ना? आप मेरे किसी बैच में हो क्या एनरोल्ड? नहीं ना? अब मुझे पता नहीं चला ये सेशन ओपन कब से हो गया है. नहीं, मैसेज था यूट्यूब पे देखने के लिए. ऑफलाइन का भी मैसेज था. आ जाओ, बस कोई बम वम लेके मत आना भाई. चलिए, थैंक यू. आई सी यू टुमारो 5 PM. प्रताड़ना, ऑल गुड? आपका असली नाम क्या है? स्नेहल. कितना बोरिंग सा नाम है. प्रताड़ना सही है ना? ओके, चलो. आई सी यू टुमारो. थैंक यू वेरी मच. अच्छा, कल वाले क्वेश्चंस भी पेंडिंग है ना? Sir, please discuss question 105. Okay, let me go to question number 105. Let me see if we have question 105 here. (105) Term red giant, a large, cool and luminous star in a late stage of its evolution. White dwarf, leftover core of a low or medium mass star that has exhausted. Black hole, region in space-time where gravity is so strong, mysterious force believed to be accelerating, that nothing are formed when massive stars collapse in themselves. Mysterious force believed to be accelerating. Leftover. हाँ, आई थिंक आंसर तो यहाँ पे सी है. 3 पेयर्स आर करेक्ट. 4 is wrong because it is talking about dark energy, not dark matter. So 4 is incorrect. Black hole का definition सही है, region in space time where gravity is so strong that nothing comes out of it. It is formed जब massive star collapses. Okay. And red giant, and we know when we spoke about small and medium stars, small and medium star के life में, when, like for example in case of sun, what would happen? Core में all the hydrogen will get exhausted and sun will start getting compressed. But at that time, in the outer parts of sun, there is some hydrogen. It will start burning up and the sun will expand. It is the time at that time we call it red giant. When sun expands, when the outer core burns and expands, outer part of the sun burns and expands, at that time we call it red giant. It is reddish in color because it's not producing that much energy, and it is called giant because in case of our sun, it will be covering even Mercury. Even it will expand so much that it will go up to Mercury. So that is red giant. And छोटे stars क्या बनते हैं? छोटे stars eventually become white dwarf and black dwarf. White dwarf will basically be our hydrogen will fuse to form helium, helium will fuse to form carbon. But when stars are small, carbon cannot further fuse to become bigger things, and it will remain carbon. Eventually all the energy will get exhausted. So till the time some old energy is left, it will keep on emitting that energy, and at that time it will be called white dwarf. And eventually when all this energy would be gone, you'll only be left with carbon, and at that time it will be called black dwarf. Okay. Cooler than sun. Yes. Okay. So this was 105. I'll see you tomorrow then. Thank you very much. और डाउट्स है? चलिए आप तो ऑफलाइन पूछ लीजिए, क्लास खत्म करते हैं.